Hello, everybody. Getting started soon.
Chat.
Hello, YouTube.
Where's Mikey?
Where's Mike?
Who's that?
Where the fuck is Mike?
Oh, dude, we don't need that. We don't need that old bag of balls.
We don't need Disney adults
We
around
don't
these
need
parts.
Disney adults around here.
Get the hell out of here.
All right, there's that.
Mike is dead.
Get rid of this image of him as Quan Chi Barney Rubble. YouTube Studio.
All right. Sounds good there. Sounds good here. Sounds good everywhere.
Yep, looking good. Chat's coming in.
Microsoft kill Mike. Yeah.
Yep, there's chats. There's you all. Man, I forgot OBS was. Actually, it was my entire internet was being bad today. Well, no, then OBS did the digital fart again. I don't know if it was OBS, to be fair.
It was a good sign. All these things are good signs.
Yeah, you're right. I should be taking these as proper omens that things are going great for me.
I told you it would have been better to be if it was a real fart.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, you got it. You got me again. Okay, that looks good. What else do I need to do? There's the rundown. I think we're good. I'm gonna tweet.
Oh shit! Send a tweet. Fuck.
He's finally gonna tweet. He's gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it.
I kill Mike. That's what happens, Special Nick. I kill him.
Mike Man is dead. Do we still have Batman's Dead on here? I don't think we do.
I had that one on my personal sound.
Oh, we have this one.
Jeff Grubb is dead.
What is this, Jeff?
What is this, Jeff? Okay, that's
The
tweeted.
eternal question.
My Dixie wrecked.
Whoa, whoa, hey, now, hey, oh.
Eesh.
What is? I'm scared. This is the sound here. This is Baltimore.
Nick, I gotta be matching this guy. He's growing it out too.
I'm scared.
Yeah,
I could
don't
kind of
know.
start to put it up a little bit. I did it today. Doesn't look good,
Yeah.
but I did it. I mean, not that it ever looks good, but hey, still. All right, I'm getting the Stream Deck proper, and then we should be good to start. That is decides that profile. Hit that. Let's test it. Okay, should be
I can
proper
hear it.
volumes for everybody.
I heard that chat. We sounded good. I think we are. I think we might be.
All right, that looks
All
good to
right, let's
me.
do this
Let's do this thing. All right, cool. I'm going to count us in and get started. You ready, Sean?
Give me one second.
Yep.
Get some more water.
Christian, are you ready?
I am ready. I was born ready.
Love to hear it.
Ignore
I
what
was
kind of water
conceived
bottle
ready,
this
that's-
is. All right, I'm ready.
All right. All right, we are going live in 5, 4, 3. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the Game Mess Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of video games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Jeff Grubb, and with me is...
Sean McDowell.
In today's episode, everything is on fire. Everything's weird, and the games are good. It's all topsy-turvy out there. We'll get into all of that, but first, Sean, you're not Mike. How are you doing?
I'm tired, man.
Me
I'm
too.
just so tired.
Me too. Mike is out on assignment. He fell down and hurt his wrist at a what it looked like a children's play place. I hope he's there with his family.
Yeah, skating rink or something. I don't know. He hurt a fingy.
He
we
hurt
need to
a
give him
fingy.
splint.
He's so far away from his Blight Club game and already laying it down. The excuses. We'll get Mikey back at some point. Who knows? In the meantime, though, me and Sean are going to talk about everything that there is to talk about. I'm tired too. Lots happening, obviously, in the news. I'm also just getting stressed out about SGF. But I got over a major hump today where it's like most of the couch is now settled. At the very least, I have a pretty decent rundown. Now there's potential like traffic jams of like, man, when is Keely's thing going to end? But whatever, we'll play it by ear. We'll make it work. So I got over a major hump. Now it's like the live show that I'm still gonna have to figure out. But there's not too much there, not too many moving parts. And Dan's doing a lot of the fun, dumb stuff. So, yep, that's taking up a lot of. Yeah.
He's doing fun, dumb stuff.
He's doing fun, dumb stuff. It's taking up a lot of my mental energies. And then I kind of get done with the day and I'm like, oh, I just want to stare at the wall or something. But instead, let's talk about what's happening with video games. Thank you for joining us, everybody. You can get more from Mike and me by joining the patreon.com/GameMess. It's patreon.com/GameMess. Sean's there too. As well as
Hi, I do stuff.
Give us a good rating wherever you are listening and hit that like button on YouTube. It helps people find the show. If you want to ask a question, you can drop a super chat during the show here on YouTube. We'll get to all of those before the end of the program. Thank you to Carlos Ayin, who is Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme songs. Thanks to 1UP vs. CPU for our artwork. You can find more of them at 1UpVersusCPU.com. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever pods are caught. Thank you to the mods, and support us by going to patreon.com/GameMess. Once again, as a reminder, that does get you access to our Discord server, the monthly Q&A, participation in our monthly Game Club discussions, 1 month early access to new episodes of Game Mess Jeopardy and Columbros, and of course, all of our shows ad-free.
Sometimes a little bit more than 1 month early access to Jeopardy, you know?
Yeah, honestly, yes, these days it's a little bit more, but hey, we'll get to those when we get to them. That's how that's going right now. That's a
live episode tomorrow.
That's right. That's true. We do have a new
by the way.
Yeah, we have a new one going up tomorrow that is live and special for the Patreon members. Honestly, yeah, the way that goes with Jeopardy, it's a kind of a big ask because Sean does a lot of that work. So that at this point, that's when it happens. All right. Friendly reminder once again, Discord has shifted to Patreon only. There's a $2 tier if you want to join that and just get in the Discord. That's there for you now. But yeah, thank you to everybody who has supported the show. Really appreciate it. Sean, let's just get into it. It was a weird couple of days of news. Sometimes shocking, sometimes like, man, I guess this is where we're at, and then sometimes very infuriating. Let's start with Xbox. Obviously, everything is just sort of on fire over there. I think what's happened is the rubber has met the road in terms of their future vision meeting like where reality is at. Like, I think for a long time, they were saying things like 2 billion gamers and cloud gaming and people, being wherever gamers are at and us meeting them there. And I think they have to do that because they know that they can only grow the Xbox brand so big and the Xbox console so big. But, they've reached that with the Xbox console seemingly. And it's by all accounting of the numbers, that's kind of cratering in a lot of ways. And then that other side of the equation of meeting gamers where they're at, that's kind of being met with a thud. There aren't people waiting to be like, okay, well, now Xbox is here. Let's get on that on my phone or whatever. People aren't doing that. And so projects like Game Pass are no longer feeling like the future. And the company has shut down multiple studios, including Arkane Austin and Tango Gameworks and what was Alpha Dog Games. And then they moved another studio into being a support studio for the Elder Scrolls Online. It is a mess. I am at a point where it feels like the future of Xbox is more cloudy than ever and also just further away from like the traditional console model than ever. How are you feeling about it all?
First of all, Jeff, last time you and I did a show together?
Was it? No, when?
PlayStation's big layoffs.
Really? Okay, well, hey, tradition.
If Mike takes vacation, anyone, watch the fuck out.
The Reaper's here, everybody, and his name's Sean Turbo Sean McDowell.
I guess so. It really feels like they haven't hit these ridiculously big goals that they set out for themselves, and they're trying to cut their losses before things get worse, which is counterintuitive to what they have in a subscription service that they're pushing. Netflix knew this for a long time, and they looked terrible for it. They still don't look great about it, but they knew you're going to lose a lot of money. You're going to just have so many rough times trying to get the content and trying to build up the user base as a result that you just need to see it through. And it feels like they're skipping a step. Things didn't turn out right away. Game Pass subscriptions have plateaued, slowed, whatever the case may be. We don't get as many numbers anymore. It's harder to tell. And it just feels like they're trying to give up a little bit on that future that they keep or have been talking up for the longest time now. It's frustrating.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that it really is. The shift is here. The transition from the strategy of the last several years to whatever's next is here, and it mostly looks like third-party publishing, putting stuff out on PlayStation, trying to just maximize revenue from whatever games they have. And when they're looking at the balance sheet and something is like costing this much and only making that much, cutting it. Which begs the question, what's next, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff on the table where it's like, man, how is Hellblade going to do? Is Ninja Theory in trouble? And I at this point, I would assume yes. I mean, they're not out there like reassuring people about that. They're like, the rumors are there's more cuts coming.
Right. And I mean, that raises the question of what are they looking for right now? Because we had that, the inside story there that everyone's been talking about of it was Matt Booty, right? Who was talking about they need smaller games, more smaller games, which people are interpreting a bunch of different ways.
Right. People
are debating on Twitter about what is a small game, which is blowing my damn mind because it's all relative. Mm-hmm. When you say a smaller game, that can include a team of 80 to 100 people, because when games are taking several hundreds of people to make over the course of the better part of a generation, something that starts out, friendly reminder, it started out as just a small handful of people and they added more to the team to get out the door. That's a smaller project, because what's smaller than that? People were saying Pentiment. Well, Pentiment's basically an indie game that just got published by Xbox.
Yeah, and it's like one example. So they made one game that's smaller than Tango Gameworks' Hi-Fi Rush, and that's okay. I mean, if the point, the part of it wasn't just like, let's make smaller games. Let's make smaller games that are prestigious and win awards and are very successful. And it's like, well, I mean, Ethan Gotch pointed this out, and it was what I was getting at with my tweet. Like, that is a lotto ticket. That is a lotto ticket when you have a small game that can break out and be a massive success, like Balatro or Pal World or any of these other things. There's thousands and thousands of those games coming out every year, and only a handful of them do really well. That's a lottery ticket. The idea behind being a major publisher is you spend so much money making your game so shiny and big that people can't ignore it, and then you have the marketing budget to back it up to force it into being a success. You brute force your way into that. And the idea that, like, okay, well, we're going to save a bunch of money. And like, to be fair, last couple of weeks we've been saying you got to find ways to do that. And I agree, but the ways to do that was build on Hi-Fi Rush. That's why this all doesn't make sense, of course, right? 'Cause that studio is done.
Yeah, and I mean, it's incredibly frustrating to me. Hi-Fi Rush was my second favorite game of the year. It came very close to being my favorite, and it was the perfect game for me. And I thought that we might never get another one of those, or it might look completely different way down the line if they revive it, because now it's seeming like it might be a dead IP at this point. It's baffling when they bought all these studios. When you buy these studios, people expect something out of them. You can't buy Bethesda for their parts. You buy Bethesda for the IPs that they have and the teams that make them. And this is what people were worried about. I was worried about it too, with consolidation and everything. This is why people say consolidation is a bad thing, because layoffs will happen. And guess what? We're seeing that in action now, where it feels like Bethesda is being stripped down. You can't buy them and say something didn't work out. It's not working within the Game Pass ecosystem and everything like that. So let's pivot away from that to small games. That's not what anyone expected when you picked up Bethesda. You can't just turn around and completely change strategies like that, because you get stuff like this. You get ruining people's lives, ruining the lives of all these developers and their families, and they have to figure stuff out now. And it's just a mess for everyone involved, except the people at the top, as always.
Yep, they continue to be in charge, and I'm at a point where Eurogamer had that story that I haven't had a chance to read, but like, what is the point of Xbox? And I saw that, and I was like, getting dinner for the kids tonight and taking care of some other stuff, and I was like mulling that over in my head, and it's like, what are any of these brands? They are stories that we tell, right? That it's like, hey, I get an Xbox because I'm investing in this ecosystem, and they're working on these games, so I'm gonna have these exclusive things, and those are going to be experiences that I can only have because I have an Xbox. And we tell these stories to ourselves because Xbox isn't real. It doesn't exist. No brand is real. These things are just fictions that we say, but there's a lot of power in these fictions, which is why we have such an affinity for Disney and Nintendo, because they've been able to harness that. And it feels like what's happening right now with Xbox is the story is crumbling. It is falling apart. It's bursting at the seams, and any of the structures that were holding it up are collapsing. And I don't get how anyone at this moment can tell themselves, here is why I am investing in the Xbox ecosystem going forward and having confidence in that. And that is more ruinous than anything else, than like having a studio that isn't making money on the balance sheet. So you're okay, yeah, I get that you have to justify your jobs and you have to make money. You don't have the luxury of not making money. He said that in an interview recently, Phil Spencer. I understand that, but you are in a delicate position where people are waiting for the win. They're waiting for a couple of wins so they can feel good about the time they've spent putting their, not just money, but like their precious human moments into this system. And they're not feeling like they're getting a great return on that. And it's okay, well, that's rough in the first place. And now it feels like the belief that they had that, hey, okay, the Hi-Fi Rush is here. They'll do something with that. In the meantime, all these other games are happening. I'm feeling good about that. All of that is falling apart. And we are kind of getting to a point of no return for Xbox, it feels like. I don't know if it's not going to like evaporate off the face of the planet, but this is a tougher position than they've ever been in.
Yeah, and okay, so I will push back a little bit. If any company was capable of not making money and being okay, it's Microsoft.
Sure.
And that's why people were okay with pivoting to Game Pass and pivoting to all these different new strategies that, things that I've been talking about for a long time. I've been saying Game Pass, great for consumers. For Microsoft, we shouldn't need to worry about that.
Who cares?
Because we think about Double Fine guy, Tim
Schafer. Yeah.
Schafer, thank you. Tim Schafer kind of talked about how, hey, we were kind of in dire straits over there. Getting acquired was a good thing for us because it gave us stability. That's what we were looking for. And so that's what we all thought was going to happen
with all these studios. Yes.
Right. We thought they would be stable because Microsoft has the money to throw at these things. And so when you talk up, we are building something new. We are building up Game Pass. Yes, things will be shaky at times, but we, again, bring it back to what I said about that subscription service. You need to take losses in order to build it up. If you're not willing to commit to it, what the hell are you doing? Earlier in the year, where we had the rumors flying around of certain games might not be exclusive anymore. They might be putting more stuff in more places, which is something they always said they would do. People freaked the hell out. And they shouldn't have, because Starfield going over a PS5, guess what? You still have Starfield.
Yeah.
Tango Gameworks closing, none of us get Hi-Fi Rush 2. This is the time to freak out a little bit and be worried about the future of the brand, because if they don't have games, they don't have these studios making them, that is the real problem at the core of all this. And like people have pointed out, I think very coldly, frankly, of, oh, this is capitalism. Yeah, it is. And it fucking sucks.
Yep,
we all hate it. And that's the point we're trying to make here. There's a look. It's pissing me off a little bit how people are almost using this as a debate point. When we got this news on like Tuesday, the body's still warm, like step back a little bit. I wasn't gonna bring up, like, frankly, I chucked someone out of the Giant Bomb chat earlier today because they were kind of being those, so it's the cost of doing business. To be frank, get bent.
Yeah.
Like have some humanity when talking about all this. We don't have to wait forever to talk about these things. We don't have to put it off until a specify amount of time, but maybe just think about how the devs are feeling in all this. When people were having a little debate of like how big was Hi-Fi Rush, and the Verge article came out and everything, I just saw it's John Johannes, right, who was a director on Hi-Fi Rush, just reacted with that image of Peppermint for the game, just doing a "Are you fucking kidding me?" face. And that's how I'm feeling about all this right now. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, we're sitting here debating like all this minutia and everything. This feels like the one thing where we should all just look at it and say, this was a mistake. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. At the very least, you should have had a better plan if this was going to happen eventually.
Yep. And it's the thing where we see this company sort of operating in this way where for years now they've had they've gotten a lot of leeway, because it's like, okay, the promise was, well, Microsoft could be a little bit better than anywhere else. It could be, if you're out on your own, like the Tim Schafer situation, and you come into Microsoft, they will use those resources to sort of provide this shelter where you can do your best work. And that happened with Tango Gameworks. It felt like that's exactly the story we were getting. And all these people literally succeeded at the understood mandate of this whole project of, hey, come work under us, make interesting games. And Hi-Fi Rush started before Xbox acquired them. But they were able to make that game, put it out on Game Pass. It was interesting, and a lot of people played it, and it had a home on Game Pass for sure. Regardless of how it succeeded, whatever happened with it, they found a home. So the people that were making that game made something great and something that fits well with Game Pass, and got people talking, and was like, hey, this is the future of this brand. And their reward is to get shut down when they are pitching the sequel to that game. Like, that's what they were doing. Right. And it just like, okay, that's the thing that like tears the whole thing apart. The people did a great job, and now they're out on the street. What are we doing here? I don't understand what the point of all of this is, if it's not to provide a home for people like that to make cool games. If it is just, hey, we got Call of Duty now, so that's what our focus is, and everything else is kind of gonna get shaved off because we got to save some, or do some nips and tucks because the business got too bloated. Well, I mean, that's your fault. Like, you're the ones that did that. Why are the people who succeeded at what they were supposed to be doing getting punished and getting sent out? It's infuriating.
We've joked about it a little bit in the past, but now it's like, ironically, Mike's whole concern about the way that they were presenting Hi-Fi Rush is founded now, right? Because he was like, they shadow dropped this. It was $30. That feels weird because this is a full good game. It's a decent length and everything. The production value is through the roof. Clearly a lot of work was put into this game from whatever size team it may have been from. And so the fact that it was shadow drop into Game Pass and it's $30 digital only, that just okay. So what do you
at the time we were all like, this should be more than $30. We're like, I know no one wants to hear that, but at the time we were saying that on this show.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like, I don't know, I'm someone who was kind of like, well, I don't know, like they can price it wherever they want, as long as they know what they're doing there. And that's where everything falls apart, because it feels like they didn't know what they were doing there. Because what's the problem here? It didn't sell well enough. It didn't bring in enough people on Game Pass. You have this thing, a character action game mixed with rhythm games. That's going to be inherently niche. It's going to get awards and everything if it does well, but it's not going to be the thing that flies off of shelves on Walmart. So if you mess up by not positioning it in the way that you want it to be, and you're pushing the blame onto the developers, like, how is any of this their fault? It just feels like passing the buck to me, and it's mind-boggling. And it just means that in many degrees that I feel like I was wrong for thinking that this whole thing could work, because frankly, correct me if I'm wrong, the logic is there. It's just they don't want to spend the money, which is wild. Why?
I mean, and really what I'm starting to get the sense of for all of this is like across the board lack of vision is really noticeable in moments like today when Sarah Bond was at the Bloomberg thing, and she announced that in July, Microsoft is going to be launching the Microsoft Xbox Game Store for mobile. Like that's launching this summer. And it's like, yeah, man, okay, this company always has an idea for a store or a service, but when it comes to the thing that would get people excited about the brand of putting out games and knowing how to support those games and doing right by those games and giving them every chance to succeed, those get sacrificed first and early and often. And then you like turn back to the company, like, what are they talking about? They're talking about a mobile app store that I think has a maybe 0.5% chance of succeeding, Sean. On what fucking planet do people install other app stores on their phone? Android has had that option from the beginning, and no other app store that's not installed when you turn on the goddamn phone in the first place has ever worked. You can put Fortnite on the Epic Store and ask people to download that, the biggest game in the world for years, and no one fucking did it. What are you talking about? You think Call of Duty and Minecraft are going to make a difference there? They're not. It won't. It's not going to work. Why is this the play? It's crazy to me. Yeah,
you and I and any other Android OGs know what happened with the Amazon App Store. We used it like the Epic Game Store.
Yep.
We got our free shit and we bounced back over to Google Play because it's built into the phone.
Yep.
Yeah. So the fact that they think that they have these IP that are going to be the things that push people towards it is also bonkers because first of all, it's taken until now for Apple to get in legal trouble for this to even be possible over on that platform.
Right.
First and foremost.
Exactly. Yes. This is all happening because of regulation. Yes.
It's still not the case here in the US. So you're still missing out on a gigantic portion of the market. I don't know. It seems silly to me. Did we not learn this with BattleNet and Bethesda launcher and all these other launchers? Even EA's learning it with Origin now, and they've pivoted away from that. Sometimes people like the thing that just works, and you gotta just take that hit on the 30% or whatever it is, and to get your games out to where people are, to get those transactions rolling in. Because people aren't going to go. The average person, we might, if the deal is good enough, but if you're giving us free stuff or whatever, the average person is not going to know. They're not going to care. That's the big thing. They're not going to know.
They're not going to care. It is. Yeah. It's even if it's demonstrably better in every way, it won't matter. This is like, and this isn't like something that we're just saying. There's studies done about like organ donors. And like the thing where you have to check it on a license, and they're like, okay, so we're going to do a little study and we're going to see how people behave if we leave that unchecked. And most people don't check it. And it's like, okay, well, we're going to start with it checked, and you have to like uncheck it if you don't want to be an organ donor. Most people leave it checked. Everyone just does the path of least resistance. And it's not like something where it's like, oh, I don't even notice. We justify it to ourselves afterward, as we do like that best. When they would interview people, they're like people that had like similar backgrounds who like when they would get their license and would have the check or not have the check, and it like seemed like they didn't care. They would be like, well, no, this is my belief. They would adopt the belief just based on the path of least resistance. That's how hardwired our brains are toward doing the default. That's why so I guess we're stumbling on what's going to happen here. Maybe Microsoft pays billions of dollars to be a default store next to the App Store on the iPhone. That is a possibility, because that's like the way like it works. Like Google pays billions of dollars to Apple to be the default search on Safari. They could do something along those lines. But then that's the strategy? Spending billions of more dollars? What are we talking about here once again?
I also don't think Apple would do that.
I don't think they would take that deal unless they were forced to by regulators. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Because I think they know that, we're taking our cut, dude. You want access to our user base that we've built up over the past, what's it been now? A decade and a half. You're going to have to play by our rules, dude.
Yep. Yeah. It's, I don't know. That one especially gets me where, you close down a studio and your next big thing is another store. And
Jeff, how the hell have Microsoft in I don't know the exact date, but like 30-ish years of quote unquote modern Windows. How are they not the default place for PC gamers to go for their games?
Yeah,
They
right.
own
can't even
the
figure it out on
operating
PC.
system.
Yeah, right. Right. That's what we're talking. Like, yeah, they didn't.
Remember games over Windows?
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Games for Windows.
That went
Yeah.
so well. Yeah.
They are so bad at it for so
They're
long,
so bad at it.
and they haven't figured it out. It's not like it's changed. If anything, it's worse than ever. Like the buying games through Windows and not through Steam is, you ask the average person to do that, like they don't even know where to start, and what, like they're going to run into headaches. God, my trying to buy games or even use Game Pass on PC was broken for like a year and a half. There's some people I know who it's still broken. It's they're really bad at it.
Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
They're so bad at it that they are not the default. We're talking about how insane it is for anyone to use anything other than the default. Gamers go out of their way to install Steam on a fresh installation of Windows.
Yep.
Bonkers.
Yep. And that's just like cultural momentum, right? That is the and you can't really do anything about that. And I think they mostly understand this because they talk about how like people have their library of games on PlayStation, and it's so hard to get them away from that. And so trying to get them to do something different on console, just spend $500 on a different machine is really difficult, and we shouldn't even really be trying to do that. All right. But then the same story is honestly not just true. It's like more true with mobile free default options, and I just don't see how you're going to win that uphill battle.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Sort of on the topic. Well, I haven't been following this super closely. What do you know about this whole the next Xbox may have alternative stores?
Yeah, I mean,
educate me and the listeners here.
Yeah, so I mean, this is something that I think we've heard rumblings of. I think that like they've even alluded to this idea. But this is not too strange coming from Microsoft, the current day Microsoft. So the idea is you would have the Xbox and you would be able to sideload just various other things, including like Steam or maybe even like EA Store, Ubisoft stuff, and you'd be able to buy stuff directly through them. Now, that might sound crazy, but this is something that Microsoft has done with the Windows Store. At least they plan to do it. I believe this does operate this way now. On the Windows Store, in the background, if you put an app on the Windows Store, you no longer have to go through the give Microsoft the 30% cut option. You can bring your own payment platform, machine, engine, and do that yourself. So you could pay a way smaller fee to someone else and completely cut Microsoft out on their own store on Windows. Now, I think what happens there is that is part of some sort of weird, long legal regulation play where Microsoft is doing that. So they are positioned when the battle comes in the future with regulators, everyone is forced to do the same thing. So if we get to the point,
and they can point at we allow Steam, therefore we can't say monopoly.
We allow Steam, and we are in the position to argue against Apple in court that now Apple must allow us to bring the Microsoft Game Store onto the store, and we could process our own payments. I suppose if they could do something along those lines, they can make some headway. Because if it's like, well, no, Call of Duty Mobile is still just on the Apple App Store, but when you install it, it installs the Microsoft Store, and that's how you launch the game. And now you're in that platform, and we can process our own payments. That's probably what they're trying to do here.
Yeah.
But again, that's fine. I get that, but that is not vision. That is manipulating pieces on a board, Machiavellian style. And it's not, let's make great games to get people excited about the story of buying an Xbox.
Yeah.
Or buying into Xbox. Whatever, buying the hardware, fuck it, it's over, I get it. But buying into the idea of Xbox, that's not what that is. That is business manipulation, and it's not inspiring in the least.
I think you said the magic word here, vision, and I think that's what's lacking right now. They say that they have it, but they're not executing on it, and that's the core problem here. Because they have all these wonderful ideas, and ideas that have been working out well. Like I said at the top, Game Pass is fantastic for consumers, and it theoretically should be good for Microsoft as well. But because numbers started to peter out, and that's what it always comes back to, number didn't go up enough, and that's just frustrating. You need to commit to executing on the vision. You can't just have it and then pivot to it in the heat of the moment, because that's what it feels like is happening a little bit.
Yes.
Is that they're not thinking about the long term. They're panicking in the moment to there's more to the story, and we'll hear more stories over the coming weeks, but it feels like folding to shareholders, folding to some I struggle to even say executives, because like you pointed out the other day when you and Mike were talking about this is a Phil thing. It's not specifically a Satya thing. Like,
yeah,
he's CEO of gaming.
Right. There is definitely like the Eye of Sauron of Microsoft has turned to gaming. I don't think like it definitely that's happened, but that happens a lot of times. And then people are like, oh shit, I got to get my shit together. These are Phil's decisions, 100%. Yeah. These are,
or at the very least, approval on like final word.
Exactly. Yes, he is the final stamp. Yes, that's what I mean. Like he's part of that executive team making these decisions collectively. But the team owns everything that's happening here, regardless of like if there's pressure from above. Yeah, sure, that happens all the time. Everyone has that at their job. That's not.
It also doesn't go much higher. It might go laterally, but it doesn't go much higher than the people who are in charge of this stuff right now, based on how things are structured as far as we know it. And I don't know, the whole thing's a mess right now, and hopefully we help people sort through their thoughts a little bit here, but it's still very confusing, very upsetting, and hopefully they can right the ship, because at the end of the day, like, let's take any fanboyism out of it. Let's take any of that bullshit away from this conversation. Let's just talk about what's happening. I think we can all agree they had something good, and they could have something good still. They're just fumbling it right now.
Yep. All right, let's get to a couple other news stories. Basically, what I wrote down here on the rundown is Xbox stuff, Sony stuff, and Nintendo stuff. The Sony stuff mostly happened over the weekend, where they were going to force people to sign into PSN for Helldivers 2, and that was going to cause the game to get delisted on Steam in 177 countries that do not have PSN, and so therefore would not be able to play the game. For a game that's already come out, that was disastrous. And basically, there's a big reversal by Sony. Now, apparently, and I don't know if this is confirmed. I saw this going on earlier tonight, but it seems like stores like Green Man Gaming are refunding purchases of Ghost of Tsushima because Sony is now delisting that in those same countries, even though it only requires the online, for the online multiplayer portion of that game, which is a small segment off to the side. But regulation probably dictates they're probably not allowed to sell that game in the country if the PSN isn't there, or something like that, or maybe there's some thing where these companies do not want to be on the line for refunds.
It's probably Steam, like they cover in their ass. They're like, oh, if this game doesn't, a whole part of this game doesn't work, so we better not sell it in these places.
Probably
that either needs to be a very explicitly advertised at point of sale, or like a big red banner like they sometimes have, or you just can't sell it.
And after Helldivers 2 and the backlash there, I think they see the potential for this. Wouldn't be as big, but even if it's like 10% the size of the Helldivers 2 backlash, that's a lot of chargebacks on credit cards, and that stuff adds up into a huge headache for these companies, and they want to avoid it. Either way, why isn't PSN in these goddamn countries if this is what you're requiring? This is so weird.
That's a good question.
As somebody who lives in a country where PSN wasn't around for a long time, I tell you, like, people should create the USA account, the PSN USA accounts, whatever they are, and it just works. But like the problem is, like, Steam just realized that, and they don't want to have any problem. And I think Steam was the one like made them pull out the game from this place, because if the game still was on Steam, you could just hook up your USA PSN account and you just play like that. It wasn't that big a problem, but because they pull out the game, that became a problem.
Yeah, I don't know what it would be. Why, Jeff, to your point of why is PSN not available there? Maybe it's something to do with servers and not,
I'm sure. Yeah,
not being able to do things internationally. Maybe some
support, probably.
Yeah, some support, like being on the hook.
Expensive, for
all that. Yeah, I think it may just be like not being able to make that connection internationally is what I imagine the case would be.
Sony needs to stop doing this. Sony needs to stop requiring it. Just make it an incentive.
Yeah.
Make it give us a goodie for signing in with PSN. I know not everyone's going to do it, but what is the? I mean, okay,
dude, you know how many freaking people they would get connecting their accounts if they gave like $5 in premium currency or something equivalent to value.
Yes.
Like back in the day when I was when I first checked out Fortnite with friends, I absolutely connected all the accounts I could because they gave you like, these different costumes that were themed around the platform that you were on. And I was like, sure, I'll take free stuff for like, 5 minutes of my time. Why not?
Yep.
If that's what they're going for and they're looking for the data and everything, yeah, just give them a freebie. Like, I'm avoiding saying sort of like credit where credit is due, but they did reverse the decision, so at least they're learning. That's a good thing to come out of all this. But if they're not just gonna completely reverse it, they're gonna try to put it in other things like Ghost of Tsushima. Well, then maybe they didn't learn as much as we thought they did, and they were just trying to avoid the backlash. Which, hey, that would be really scummy, right?
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, and again, this only bothers me so much because I'm just used to signing in these things. I'm an old man. I've gotten I've just done this dance so many times. I can't get the fervor up in my heart for it. But it's still like I still think it's a bad idea and something they should not do anymore. And if they could have, if I'm in that company, and I would find a way to avoid this, and I would just simply do something different and provide a different way for people to want to sign into PSN instead of forcing them to sign into PSN. It is just so clearly the right path forward for every decision when it comes to trying to get gamers to do something. It's always smarter to give them something and incentivize, as opposed the carrot works so much better than the stick. It's just stupid.
Absolutely does. Yeah. What do you think? Go ahead, Christian. Go ahead.
No, is this related to them like making like a launcher for PC? Is this?
I mean, it's definitely all part of it.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually what I was going to ask. Yeah, what do you think? Why do they want this so badly? Obviously, the almost cop out answer is data, which all right. But I don't know. It feels like to have the requirement, it's got to be something more than that in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is that you need a certain critical mass to make one of these launchers work. And the way you do that is to build up an affinity for stuff like trophies. And then suddenly someone's like, well, I better make sure I'm signing to PSN every time. And I signed into PSN, and now there's a store here. And look at this. This thing is $1 cheaper on here as opposed to when I buy it on Steam. Maybe I'll just start making my purchases directly through PlayStation. I assume it's like that's the long-term play, but I mean, it's not going to work.
We already had a whole discussion about that, which is what makes me.
If Epic can't figure it out, you can't figure it out. Yep,
exactly. Yeah, like if Microsoft ain't getting people hanging out on the Xbox app.
Listen,
no PlayStation.
Discord is installed on every goddamn computer in the fucking world, and they had they tried to sell games on there. It didn't work because like if Discord can't do it,
you're right.
People know what they like.
Mass adoption, crazy.
Discord had a store. They had a subscription service for subscribing to indie games. They tried everything with all that stuff, and none of that stuff's in there anymore for a reason. It's the kind of thing where these companies have to try them. Like you can't tell them, hey, well, that won't work. They're like, well, there's some growth there that we're not getting. We should try it. And they're going to try it, and they're going to see that it's not going to work. And then they'll try something else. But yeah, I mean, you see how it goes at like the Fandom Corporation, right? Where it's like, we just got to try something. We got to just figure something out and try it. And so that's just how it goes at all these big companies. They decide on an initiative, and then they're going to see it through. And that means like exercising every last pathway that they can think of to make the thing work. And right now we're at the dumb idea stage, I think, for a lot of the PlayStation Network on PC stuff.
Yeah.
Overall, though, Sony's going to report their earnings next week. They're probably going to be mostly fine. I think the story we're going to get out of that company once again is, boy, we wish we had more growth. We have some. We would really be a lot happier with significantly more, and we don't know where that's coming from. So they're going to reiterate what they've said before, right? Hey, we are looking harder at PC, and we're going to be more aggressive about that. They said that last time. They're going to say that this time. No big change or panic there, right?
Yeah, I just think you're right. Yeah.
All right. Then there is the Nintendo stuff. How do you feel about this Switch 2 leak?
Oh, I thought we were going to talk about Twitter.
We can talk about Twitter too. Yeah. Shit. Yeah. God. They're gonna
Elon fucking Musk.
They're unplugging Twitter from Switch on, I don't know, sometime next month. I think in June. June 10th, I think. And this has already happened on Xbox and PlayStation. And Nintendo's like, hey, you can like upload it to your phone and upload it still. We don't give a shit. And Twitter's like, we have a very close partnership with Nintendo, as a quote tweet that Nintendo did not acknowledge. It's like, Sure you do, honey. I believe you.
Yeah.
Clown shoes company.
Yep, they raised API prices, and then suddenly Nintendo's like, "Yeah, we're not going to do this anymore." Weird. I can't imagine there being any connection.
You should be paying us. It's got to be what Nintendo's thinking. Well,
Yes.
People were uploading Breath of the Wild stuff onto Twitter and kind of made gaming Twitter in that age. Like gaming Twitter's very old. I've been there since the beginning, but like that moment was like, oh, it's going even more mainstream. And then since then, that's been replicated multiple times because people are uploading their shit from Elden Ring or whatever after that. But like Breath of the Wild was like a big moment. And it's like, you should be paying Nintendo. What are you talking about? This content that they're generating for you. You want money? Just the dumbest fucking people in the world run these companies. And that's where I'm feeling the shitification. Everything feels so terrible right now. Everything is the worst it's been in a long time.
That's the theme of the night. This episode is therapy. We're just airing all these grievances, man. Fuck it.
The streaming services are terrible. The internet fucking sucks. Like my upload's been the same speed for a decade, and they're not going to do anything about it. Everything is as terrible as it possibly can be because we eventually just get back to this point where these companies are like, man, ads are cool. It's like, oh, are they? What are you talking about? I paid so
Those
much
things
money
that people love.
Yeah.
Definitely don't install extensions on their PC to get rid of or anything.
Yeah, Prime is like putting more ads into their shows now. It's
cool.
crazy.
I'm sure that'll play out wonderfully.
Yeah, like it's like like a whole fragment or whole phrase search doesn't work in Gmail anymore. Where like when you put something in parentheses or in quotations and like I just want ones that have this phrase. And it does not work anymore because Google
I know, Jeff.
is terrible. It's everything is the entropy comes from everything. I get that. But it's like at a certain point it was like, well maintaining these services is valuable because we want people to feel good about them. And that is dead. And so just across the board, all the worst people are in charge making terrible decisions and they don't care because they're just got to maximize profit and they're finding ways to do that while making us miserable. It sucks.
Yes. Being humane is a dead art nowadays. It seems that's the common thread in all these things that we've talked about so far tonight. But anyways, now we got that out there. Hey, let's talk about something maybe we're excited about, eh?
Yeah, I think I'm pretty excited about this. I hope this rumor's true. I'm kind of operating under the assumption that it is. UFS 3.1 memory for storage for the Switch.
Yes.
That is, pretty fast stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah, I described it as like diet NVMe. It's close enough, in my opinion, for the kinds of games you're going to get on the Switch. You're probably still going to have loading times here and there. It's a far cry from what you get in a PS5, but it's a lot of devices. A lot of smart devices use similar kinds of storage, and it's plenty fast enough. And if you have the right kind of CPU that is built to sort of decompress the data from that kind of storage, it's going to be somewhat, you're not going to notice the difference a lot of times between that and a real SSD. So that's exciting, right?
Yeah, and as you know, I've been casually phone shopping. I don't need a new one, but I was thinking, maybe just to treat myself. I haven't spent a lot of money lately. Maybe I'll check one out. So I've been looking into specs because that's the kind of person I am. I'm like, where am I actually getting bang for my buck? Everything except for, I believe, the Galaxy S24 is just using UFS 3.1. That's what everything's on right now. I believe that's what Apple's even using.
They're even using that? I always heard they had SSD, but I think people are just colloquially calling these things SSDs.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it's UFS 3.1.
That's great.
But yeah, and everybody think about how like apps generally work really well on your phone nowadays and everything, and think about that smoothness that they got over there. Pair that with a better processor that's giving me a Switch 2. You have a good smooth experience all around, especially when you think about them coding to the metal as they probably will be doing with here. Like it's going to be even more optimized.
Coding to the metal is why I'm not worried about 12 gigabytes of memory of RAM. Excuse me. That's like not as much. That's
true. That's good though. That's good. Like for the form factor.
Exactly. I am like, that's fine. It's 2 6 gigabyte modules of LPD, that low power. DDR5.
Oh, it is DDR5. Good.
They're not sure if it's DDR5 or DDR5X. It could be one or the other. It's NVIDIA. I bet it's 5X, but we'll see. Either way, that's fine generation. 12 gigabytes is more than like the Xbox Series S has, right? That has like 10 gigabytes.
It has 10. It's I believe that's split 8 high speed, 2 low speed, or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so 12 gigabytes coding to the metal, I'm happy.
Oh yeah, this thing is going to be good at launch, is what it's looking like. Yeah, assuming, again, rumors.
Sure,
Assuming that this is all true, and you know that like people were going freaking Rain Man on this stuff when I tried looking up like cross-referencing shipments and everything. Is how they figured out some of this stuff. I don't know how I got, but yeah, if this plays out the way you think it will, combine that with some kind of good AI upscaling, even DLSS or a DLSS Lite, things are looking good for the Switch.
I'm feeling pretty good about
wow. Everyone always calls you and Mike and you and myself like Nintendo fanboys and everything. Like
this episode doesn't prove that. What are you talking about?
I don't know. It kind of looks like maybe Nintendo's doing all right over there.
There's a non-super chat question in chat that I wanted to like reference. Someone say, "Hey, why are Japanese companies thriving and everyone else seems like they're struggling?" And I think that like plays into like that's maybe like the underlying foundation of all of these news stories, like where. You know, Capcom did do very well, really high profits. We did get Konami. Konami also, their profits way up. And they were like, because we did shit with Metal Gear Solid, big surprise. So they did start emulating what Capcom was doing and it paid off. So their profits way up. And that's profits, right? So it's like they're paying this much and they're making that much. And there's a huge stack of cash between those two things. And I think it comes down to a big part of it is just environment. Where, you know, a lot of these Western companies have very expensive employees that have only gotten more expensive. And like we've been hearing like recent years, like Capcom's going to finally start giving people raises. Like paying for labor in Japan has been very cheap for a very long time. Mm-hmm. And even when they're increasing their wages, it's not that expensive. And the sort of cost of living in Japan is so low. So there's not a lot of pressure from these employees to raise the wages. So I think it's like, companies in Japan just have this a little bit of an advantage at this moment. This is not always an advantage because you know, a lot of stuff in Japan is there's not a lot of investment because people are scared, and that's been like a long trend for a very long time, decades in Japan, and that holds them back sometimes. But in this moment where everyone sort of is struggling to borrow money, the fact that they have very low labor cost, or relatively low labor cost, I should say, in Japan seems like that is enabling them to profit on the kinds of games that are making that are selling like, you know, 5 to 10 million copies across most of these like successful games in Japan, and like 5 to 10 million copies for a game from PlayStation where they have a lot of Western studios now, and especially Microsoft, that wouldn't really, you know, cut the salami for them. So yeah, I don't know. That's just a half-baked thought, half-baked response to your question, but that's where I'm at with that. All right.
And I think a big part of that is also just scope, you know, keeping things in check more so than we tend to here in the West of just, I keep saying it, but number go up. That's all anyone cares about here. And there's just less pressure for that overall over there, I think is what's happening there. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. Tell you what we're going to do now. We are going to take a quick break. When we get back, we got a lot of super chats. We're going to get to those right after this.
Break.
All right.
Cool.
I'm good to get back into it, but if you want to break, let me know.
I can pull up the super chats if you want me to.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, because I think they're like a little fragmented.
You want to set up
again.
the team for the, because we have
for the producers thing.
Yeah,
we could do that after. We can probably do another break after super chats. There's quite a few of them.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay, let me see, because we start with that one, and then where's this one kick in? So now Stream Elements is sort of missing a few. So okay,
well,
I think
I'll be reading along with you. So if they're on YouTube and not on Stream Elements, I'll pick them up.
Okay. Well, I'll read off of YouTube. If anyone has theirs missed, let me know and I can check Stream Elements.
Cool.
Just say we didn't miss any.
Okay. All right. That's good to know.
So it might be working fine now.
All right.
All right.
Cool.
We're going to get back into it, everybody. And we're back. That was a great news segment, but you know what? I need some super chats. Sean, go ahead and read those for me.
Absolutely. First one up here from Big Fresh 37. Xbox deserves all the heat here, but I don't get why this boils down to Game Pass bad for so many. When every traditional publisher is also cutting, why is that model better? All leads to bad.
Fair point, right? Why? Well, like everything is. I don't think Game Pass bad is what we're saying. First,
no.
I think Game Pass.
They don't necessarily even mean us.
Oh, sure.
To be clear.
Yes, I think for a lot of people, they're like, we thought Game Pass was the future, and now it sounds like Microsoft's saying it's not the future. There are a lot of people that are going to say Game Pass bad because they've been saying that for years, and they've been, whatever, dancing on the grave is what they're doing right now. Sure, yeah. I mean, Just don't listen to them. We try to be reasonable on this show. Come here instead. The traditional model is not necessarily better. It just seems like it's making more sense in this specific moment. And it seems like that's the one Microsoft is choosing too, because they're like, hey, the rumors are they're looking at putting more games on PlayStation than putting more games in the Game Pass. Potentially, that could change. But the reality is, no one has the model that is going to be the model of the future. That's where we're going to have a conversation in the second half of this episode. What does gaming look like in 5 years? The spoiler warning, we don't fucking know because no one does.
Exactly. That one also came in before the show started, so hopefully some of what we talked about there answer your question, Big Fresh. I think we just think that the concept of Game Pass is good. The problem that a lot of people are having right now is that Microsoft's execution of Game Pass specifically, like them executing on it, is the problem.
And not predicting that they would be in this situation where it would stop growing because everyone that has an Xbox has Game Pass, and now there's no one left to sell it to. So what do you expect? Exactly.
Next up, another one from Big Fresh 37. Sorry, I counterpicked Animal Well, so F me, eh? Is Donkey gonna save games?
Yes,
maybe. You'll probably talk about that later in the show, but did you feel an Animal Well?
Not yet. Honestly, I'm not feeling it yet, but it's not like I dislike it. It is one of those things where people reached out to me specifically to be like, you're going to like this game. And that's like put so much pressure on it. And I'm like, I hope I do, but it just has not had that aha magic moment yet for me.
From the little I've seen, I know Jeff Baclar was excited about this one going into it. This seems like more of a him kind of game. Yeah. So I think people may have just been recommending it to you because of Metroidvania stuff.
I think so. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I never really played Fez. It's one I've always been interested in. And people are saying this is similar, but we'll see. People also said Tunic, and I'm like, sort of lost the plot on Tunic at the end. So
from Jacob Bench, playing Chrono Trigger for the first time. It's peak.
Seems like a good game. I don't know. I've played it a couple times. I've just never finished it. I do enjoy it.
Okay. Yeah. It's a rare blind spot for me. I've never played Chrono Trigger.
Oh, damn.
Tell us when you get to the frog.
Cool. Okay. Next up from Prinny Dude. Remember the dev_direct in January? Most people were optimistic about Xbox. Now I don't even care about the brand. Why should I if they don't care about their devs? That June showcase won't save them either.
Yeah, I'm gonna be very curious about that showcase. We'll see. Yeah. People forget for Xbox their showcase last year, people were feeling pretty down because of Redfall. And then things change quick. Now I think this is different, but we'll see how people are feeling in June. A month in gaming is a long time.
And I think this showcase in particular is going to be pivotal to them right now because of this. They need to deliver, or we're pessimistic right now. People might be even more upset after that if it doesn't deliver.
Yeah,
people forget so fast. Last year we have before the Game Awards we have how many thousands of people getting fired, and then when the Game Award happens, everybody was like, "Oh, how cool games are!"
And we also we always forget that we're paying attention to this stuff, and I do think that this Xbox news is getting out into the mainstream. I do. I think that the bad sentiments tend to leak out, but I don't think that is something that people are going to keep in mind for a month if you're somewhat more casual.
Yeah, not as much. I talk about hanging out with my normie friends. This is the kind of thing where I say to them hey, the studio that made Hi-Fi Rush closed. We're not going to get a second one. They're going to be like, that sucks. I think they also see it as company's bad. So if you tell us a company closed a team or fired a team, they're just like, shoot, dude, that's too real to my day job. I know what that's like. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think that's where we're sitting on that right now.
Agreed.
From AK, I've got all the platforms, and Xbox Series X is my favorite to play games on, but I'm so tired of everything Xbox being a trash fire all the time. Please tell me there's some reason for optimism with this thing.
Yeah, my Xbox had basically broken because it was hanging on an update, so I had to do a hard reset and completely refresh the thing. And I started playing on it last week, and I'm I do enjoy using that console. I know Dan Reichert, it's his console choice when he has to play on a console at home. There are a lot of people out there like that. It's a fine device that they really nailed, and I think the telling thing is how unimportant that is at the end of the day. Yeah. Oh, you got a nice thing to play games on? So what? What's the story of the brand? They don't have that. So it's, the reason for optimism. Look, I think there's going to be some good stuff in this showcase. But is there going to be mind-blowing stuff? I don't know. And is it enough to change that narrative? I doubt it.
Yeah, in terms of optimism, sorry, AK, don't know quite what to tell you at this point. But I will say, at least you got a good box for playing games. Plays current gen stuff.
Right, you already have it. Exactly.
You got backwards compatibility out the wazoo, which is something that other platforms don't have right now. At the very least, as long as you're comfortable making that purchase, you have a good box for gaming. If it doesn't stay your primary platform for gaming, that sucks more for Microsoft than it does to you, because you can go elsewhere.
Yep.
And it reminds me of what Mike's hit tweet from the other day, starting to think that future gaming isn't Xbox or PlayStation. Never too late to come on over to the PC side of things, because let me tell you, we'll talk about it later in the show, but this week we're thriving over here. Indies and everything are doing well. Yeah, so never too late to make the switch. From El Grug, controversy.
That's people should go watch Grubb Bag or whatever we ended up calling it.
Grubb's Grab Bag.
Grubb's Grab Bag. Yes,
we're thinking about maybe a different title for that. But that was a fun stream that me, you, and Nikki did today.
I agree. I had a very good time.
Thanks, Christian.
It was random games on Steam, and the community helped pick them as we were streaming it. That sounds fun. I think it's even more fun than it sounds. It was a really good time.
Yeah, we'll try to do. Yeah, Christian.
You didn't pick any of my recommendations.
I can't imagine why we didn't do that. We'll probably do more of those, people. So if you like the idea of you shouting keywords into a chat and us trying to find games based on that keyword that you vote on for us to play, check that video. I may check out the next one we do.
And I'll do for you, Christian. I'm not going to put in 9/11 into the search, but if you if you can trick us into searching something that brings up a game related to that, we'll have it'll be like on the Pee Wee Herman show where alarms go off and all that stuff. We'll have that set up. You said the secret word. You found the secret games.
Challenge accepted.
Okay.
Cool.
From Flim Flam Mandrew, with Xbox studio closures and rumors of Call of Duty not coming to Game Pass, does this hint towards a greater issue in the gaming submodel? First of all, I want to say, Call of Duty not coming to Game Pass, they're going to lose so many fucking people.
We didn't even bring this up, but I'm glad the super chat's here. We should have. That is one of the rumors. I'm at a point where I am. Maybe I'm just choosing to believe that, well, of course they have to have that conversation. It would be maybe a little bit weird if they didn't have that conversation, right? Because the thing is so valuable. But if if they're not able to convince themselves that Call of Duty is worth putting in the Game Pass, it's over. It is over. So,
and I can say from experience, my friends picked up, we're smart about our subscriptions, and I recommend everyone else do the same. Turn off auto renew on your subscriptions, because that way you just buy what you need, even, buy a month of whatever. Take the 15 seconds, bookmark this to make it easier on yourself, to go to the subscription page and then just turn off auto renew. Because my friend is currently subscribed to Game Pass. He chose to leave it on because he's like, right now I'm playing roughly one game a month out of the service. At least that's worth it to me for the $10 a month. It's not terrible. And so for him, he's keeping on. And one of the stipulations is, because the next Call of Duty should be the one that's in Game Pass, right? I'm like, yeah, it should be. And so he's like, yeah, so I'll just leave it on. And if it ain't, go lose him and probably a lot of other people, if nothing else, because they're losing faith.
And they should, because that is the signifier that it's done.
Yeah, I don't think the subscription model itself is the problem. I think it is, again, the commitment to the vision of what it should be.
Right, they're on hard times and they're just not seeing it through.
They're, like you said, they're being bottlenecked by hardware right now, and they're trying to get it out in more places, but we'll see.
Yep.
From Oyazumi Mex, here to ask about any news on our new Ridge Racer from Mike, who's gone but not forgotten.
Ridge Racer.
Shit. No, I got nothing for you. I tried Ridge Racer 64 again. That game's not great.
64 is not great. No.
It's not. It's slow.
No. The PlayStation ones are good.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Of course.
Yes, yeah.
But especially R4. From Bander SN, do we think Ninja Theory's UE5 tech is more valuable than Hellblade itself to Xbox? Could be what keeps the studio alive, as a lot of Xboxes on Unreal.
I mean, they already got an Unreal Studio and Coalition, and their Coalition's not going anywhere. So, yeah,
that's true.
And it's not going anywhere, not because Gears, but because of the Unreal stuff. So yeah.
I think I see what this super chat is getting at. They don't necessarily need Ninja Theory if they need a few engineers from Ninja Theory.
Yep.
I understand the concern there. And
I'm concerned about all these studios. Yeah. Especially something like Ninja Theory. Is there any world where they are happy with how that game performs? I doubt it.
Yeah. T-Bucket 23, some of Xbox's non-AAA games on Game Pass have been some of my favorite games ever, including Psychonauts 2, Pentiment, and Hi-Fi Rush. I was so sad hearing about the closures, as these devs deserve better. Yeah, and that's didn't even intend it, but that's why I put as a thumbnail for this episode. Jeff, devs deserve better.
Yep, I 100% agree. My heart goes out to all of them.
Yeah. Nintendo Derek, in honor of today's 4 indie releases, and to add a bit of goodness to a bad week, what are your top 4 favorite indie games? Ooh, hang on. I keep a running list of my favorite games. Let me pull that up here while you.
Yeah, I like. First one that comes to mind, unfortunately, is The Witness. I like that game a lot. I really do like that game, despite Jonathan Blow being just a real piece of shit, and you can tell him I said that. What else do I really like?
For me, Shovel Knight is like my go-to. I love Shovel Knight. Celeste, very, very good. I still haven't finished Celeste just because I go back to it in bits and pieces here and there and just bang my head against a wall for like a weekend with that.
We do here. All games sort by hours played. That's not a great way of doing things. I suppose Eco's an indie game. So Eco.
Oh yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm there with you.
Love that game.
Do I have any installed it? Balatro hits, dude.
Balatro's real good. Into the Breach. Into the Breach is up there. And then
Vampire Survivors.
Vampire Survivors. Neon White is really up there for me.
Yeah.
Man, let's see here. And then I guess it used to be an indie game, Rocket League.
Oh, yeah.
One day it was.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Good list of indies for you there.
Hades for sure.
Yeah. From Epic Wallpapers, how many cat shines are in Dead Space 2 remake? Is this our truth? Is this our truth coming for us?
Yeah, maybe.
Under a different name?
Yeah, possibly. Listen, I'll tell you, if I told you that, they truly would kill me. Tracy, from the head of PR at EA, would truly have me destroyed.
Yeah. From Puppies on Acid,
I think these puppies might be on acid.
I think they might be tweaking. From BRTR, got Redfall as an AMD CPU bundle promo 1 year ago. I'm surprised you found one that still did that. Never had the desire to touch it, but now it's never felt more like a bad/dead promo item. Hoping the best for those affected by the layoffs.
Why just at least let those people who did all that work put out that fucking update. Listen, what matters the most is the people getting laid off, losing their jobs, and being out in the cold. But their work, the fruits of their labor also matters. I'm sure it matters to those people. They would hey, we did all this stuff. We put some effort into this. Just put it out. I guess that would be more support, and so they don't want to do that. Not that that's an excuse. That is also truly frustrating and makes me mad. But man, that game, it's not good. I don't know what Redfall deserves or anything. I don't really care what Redfall deserves. But I wish that we lived in a world where that game could just be played offline in perpetuity so we can go back and check it out whenever we want to.
Regardless of what you think of the game, people worked on it. And that's the message I tried preaching at the top of the show. Have humanity, everybody. Remember that people worked on these things and they're not doing well right now.
Yep.
But thank you for super chat. Banjo Playing Bear, sounds familiar, says Sony has earnings coming up next week and their stock has not been doing well. Is it plausible that they will also have more layoffs?
Yeah, it's plausible. I don't necessarily think they'll do it, but it's plausible.
It feels like it's plausible any day of the week.
Right.
Now,
everyone's trying to cut costs. That's the reality. Yeah. Everyone's trying to cut costs. But we'll see. We'll see how they're doing. Their hardware sales were also down 30% in the United States last quarter. And I think that might have them panicking a little bit. And that could lead to more cutting costs, which would lose to more people losing their jobs. So it's on the table. I hope not.
Exactly. From Gartooth, do you think Microsoft tries a competitive mainstream next-gen console, or do they decide to just be a big third party with hardware for a core niche? This feels to me like Xbox's Dreamcast moment.
Dreamcast moment is maybe accurate to a degree. There's probably some major. I think we're in a major shift. What does that look like for hardware? And that's going to be. We're going to talk about this in detail here in a little bit. But I think they go just more boutique, whatever that ends up looking like.
Yeah, I think what I've been trying to tell people for a long time now is Xbox. When Phil Spencer says Xbox is not necessarily just a box, I think that is the future of gaming on the whole. And I think that's what the future for them looks like. So it's almost like, Dreamcast moment, parentheses positive, because I think they're going to branch out in other ways. And hopefully teams will still be there to support it.
Right.
From Connell Wood, but did number go up? Not as much as it needed to, apparently.
Yeah, the number not going up.
From Soxo Roxo, what would your advice to Xbox and Phil Spencer be at this moment? Is Xbox a problem for Microsoft?
My advice would be, first, I get it. This is hard. I know a lot of people are like, these people definitely need to leave. And I think they need to leave insofar as like, other people are losing their jobs. Why do the people at the top always get to keep it? But I don't think some other leaders suddenly everything's different for them. I think they still kind of have a lot of the same problems, and that comes back to just like the environment these companies exist in. But that doesn't mean you can't make some better choices. And I think I would focus on the games. I would be like, the number one priority is putting out games that cannot be denied in how good they are. Yeah. And that it's like that at all costs, up to, reasonable degree. But all these other distractions need to like sort of be put on the side burners, and up front needs, what's the next game that's coming out? Okay, it is. Everybody who knows how to make a good game is going to be sharing information about how to make it the best game it can possibly be. And we're going to be in there frequently making sure that it gets to that point, because we want to support you and you've done all this work. Let's make sure it pays off. And it doesn't feel like that's happened. That would be my advice.
That is the big problem, I feel, in general, is one hand not talking to another. Right. And we've heard about how hands-off Xbox has been in all of this, and sort of just letting studios do their thing, which is fine to an extent, but it seems like too much of a good thing is too much of a good thing here, where studios are lacking guidance under Microsoft is sort of what feels like the problem. Is I think there just needs to be more, like you said, more of the teams working together and, rising tide.
Yep, sharing best practices, that sort of thing. Yep.
Yeah. From Raymond Octal, with the backlash, you think they might think twice with the next round of cuts to main Xbox studios, or are we just going to see round 3 of pain?
I think if there were other studios to be closed, they would have just done them all at the same time. They would have done it now. So I think that doesn't mean there's not more layoffs coming. There probably could be more layoffs coming. But if they had in their brain that they were going to be closing other studios, that it would have made all the sense in the world to just do it all at the same time, so you could just take that beating, those lashings all at once, instead of being like, oh, is this going to be a death march going forward? If they do that, if they do it again in a couple of weeks, couple of months, they shut down more studios, it's going to feel like a death march. And that would be even worse than it feels now, which might be hard to imagine.
Yeah. From Green Thumbs, studio closures have always sucked, but this is senseless. I hope the affected developers land on their feet. Big same here.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially, I mean, I don't know what state Arkane Austin was in. I really have zero idea, but we're hearing that like Tango Gameworks was like, hey, we are pitching the sequel to that game that everyone liked, and the people that made it are here. They did not go with Shinji Mikami. Okay, senseless is the word.
Yeah, definitely. Cool Francis 19. Would you expect to see a PlayStation Showcase announcement next week?
Expect is a strong word. I wouldn't be surprised is how I would put it. I just heard May. I try to be honest with this stuff. I try to be open with it. I've just heard May. I've heard a few things that might be in there that I can't confirm, so I'm not going to be talking about any of that. For the timing, I heard May. That's the best I have for you. So maybe next week, maybe later. I honestly don't know.
Yeah. There you go. From Dcash114, I'm a PlayStation gamer who also got an Xbox Series X this gen. Boy, they make it easy for someone like me to ditch them with lack of games, going multi-plat, and now clear lack of intent to make unique games going forward.
Yeah,
unfortunately true.
I bet a lot of people are in that same boat, Dcash.
Yeah. From the Uncharted Wolf, and this was the not super chat that you read earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Why are Japanese companies like Sega and Capcom flourishing while Western studios like Microsoft is floundering? Lower budgets, lower expectations. Well, hopefully we answered that one for you, Wolf.
Yep. I mean, a lot of it's also like, for all the things we said on top of that, the currency in Japan is really deflated right now. So it's easy to like make a lot of money in other countries. And then when that comes back home, it goes really far. So there's a lot of factors. But I think when it comes down to it, they're making games that people want to play, right? Isn't that just what it is?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Capcom's on fire right now.
Atlas,
on a roll, not on fire. They're on a roll.
Yeah,
like just hit after hit.
Persona, Like a Dragon. Yeah. These things are growing bigger and bigger every entry. Like they're doing the things we say. Hey, you have something that worked. Do it again. And build up that fan base. Oh, and the 7th one is the biggest one. The 8th one sold 1 million copies in a month. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Christian. Go ahead.
I also feel like in Japan there's a lot of workers protections.
Definitely.
So like being like hard to fire somebody and like having to bite the bullet, and like for companies to like when something goes bad, like the higher ups having to like not fire people and like reinvent themselves and like keep working on that stuff. Like that makes the people working at that company like
what keeps the teams together, right? Yeah.
They make better games afterwards after like being so much time in the same company,
Yeah, it's very true. The teams want to be there, and they're not afraid that, I'm not gonna have my job tomorrow, or at least very least not as much, like, because people, that's actually, that's a point that I hadn't really thought about in all this. Japan doesn't really fire people, at least in the business world.
It's very difficult to do that.
Shuffle people around, and unfortunately, as we saw with Kojima, you sometimes even get passive aggressively putting them into positions until they quit, but you don't really get fired. So yeah, maybe. And you and Jan were talking about, that's what I was trying to think of on GMM today. With Capcom in particular, they are learning from their mistakes. The Street Fighter 6 team talked about the fact that, the people who worked on 5 learned from their mistakes on 5. And so going into Street Fighter 6, they just fixed the things that didn't work. And Street Fighter 6 is fantastic. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
And these teams were able to stick together for years and years and years. Not always like 100% consistency. Not always 100% of the team sticks around, but larger portions of the teams than in a lot of other places in the world.
Yeah, you get a lot of Japanese devs sticking in the same company for like 20 years.
They made their careers part of the company. Yeah.
Yeah. From Mikey O'Leary, just saw the new Apes. You're going to end up wondering if Bacalar wrote it because characters constantly comment on or ask if things are important.
All right, can't wait. I'm
looking forward to that one now.
I actually am looking forward to that movie. I like all of those Apes movies. I like every Planet of the Apes movies. Even the what's his name one? Tim Burton. Even the Tim Burton one. It's like,
do you hear the conversation they had about it on the dump truck today?
I missed. I like caught portions where I think Adam was talking a little bit about the movie and being excited about it, but that's all I heard.
Okay, yeah, basically talking about it. Okay. Yeah, basically talking about how they're like dumb fun or everything. Apparently, Paul Reichert, big fan of the Tim Burton one.
Of course.
He likes Halle Berry. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, who doesn't?
Couldn't blame him. Yeah. Nick says, "Is this the shift from Xbox to Microsoft gaming?"
Yeah. I mean, they'll keep the Xbox branding and they'll try to make it as strong as possible because that's worth a lot more than Microsoft gaming. But basically, yeah. I mean, I think they internally have shifted their view of what they are, and everything, all the choices that we're seeing is them expressing that in ways that make everyone go, wait, what the hell? What about the console? And they're like, what about it? We don't give a shit. Yeah. So yeah, that's what this is.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk more about that in a little bit here. JD Camp, does Bacalar like the Sphere now because of the draft?
I haven't asked him. I will ask him though if his opinion has changed about the Sphere because of the NHL draft.
Okay, I do think we have a reporter on the ground who has joined the chat.
No, I'm back. I'm back home. Hello.
Hey,
Hey.
Mike
What's up,
Benani,
Mike?
how's it going?
Hi. Do you want me to jump in? You want me to stay away?
No, you can. I mean, I think
You
we
can
just
hang
go.
out at least.
Yeah, hang out with us. Yeah, let's just do it.
Oh shit!
Oh, he's trying to hop in.
Yeah, I'll make it work.
Oh, there you go.
All right.
Look at that.
Hello.
Show us your wrist.
I don't mean to cause a ruckus.
No.
Did you tell everyone I hurt my wrist?
I
we told him.
mentioned
Yeah.
something, but I don't know if I got too illustrative with how that went down or anything like that.
thingy
Well, he
was
didn't have
mentioned.
very much info.
Yeah.
so-
Yeah, I mostly just said you were trying to get out of your next Flight Club game. So
Oh, it does hurt. We'll have to see.
Oh,
Put
boy.
in a sling. What's up,
Yeah, be
Mike?
good. How you guys doing?
You're doing good.
Good. As good as it
Good
gets,
show?
you know.
Why are so many people watching?
I think
Oh, I can't imagine why.
I think because you weren't here.
God, I should leave.
Oh, super chats and everything too.
I
huh?
honestly think it's because of Sean's headline. Xbox has failed management. I think people are from
Man.
both sides are here to
Your
get
boy
mad
gets
at
to
us.
push.
Sean
What
can
can I
make
say?
Sean should make headlines. He's better at that than me. You can continue. I'll just comment on things if I want to.
Okay. Well,
That's all good. Okay, we're
What,
just
you
doing
got
super
a
chats right now. Feel free to chime in.
Okay, cool.
Man with a stick. I was flabbergasted by Bond's unprepared response on Bloomberg. Enough for me to finally cancel 24 months of Ultimate. The lackadaisical attitude to failure at the 11th hour of execution disgusts me. Wow. Sorry, a lot of big words there.
I missed what she said.
I just saw it myself. I literally just
Hey.
Good
Hey,
thing I'm
reporter
here.
Mikey.
Reporter on the
yeah,
ground.
what you got for us?
Yeah, the person from Bloomberg was like, "Hey, this studio just released a game that was a success and won awards, right? Like, why shut them down? Shouldn't they be safe?" And then Sarah Bond just kind of said nothing for a minute, like really
Cool.
just like words came out,
Right, so
talking about
ill-prepared.
things, but not. I don't know if ill-prepared is just like, well, like what can she say? So she's just like dodging either she's ill-prepared or dodging the question,
that's
quote
the same
unquote,
thing, right?
artfully.
She should have.
right?
She should have known that was going to come, so that she did have an artful way to get out of it. Yes, not get out,
Yeah.
but like say something that means something, but still acknowledges the reality of the situation. And people would still get mad at you, but just having nothing to say. I think this person's response is completely fair. You just fired a bunch of people, and you have nothing to say about it.
Yeah, right. Like, especially if you're going to give an interview, I don't know. It's weird. I have no idea. Like there's a big question of like culpability of the big three, I guess, in some sense. Like how much of this is them, how much of it is that Eye of Sauron higher up at Xbox, like we've been talking about, right? But of course, Sarah Bond has some responsibility here, so there needs to be. Like, look, if you fired them because you needed to save money, just then say it.
Yep.
You know, don't kind of dance around it or try to be cute about it.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, while we're kind of on the topic, Mike, did you have anything else to add on anything we've talked about tonight? The whole Xbox thing and everything? Just
I mean, I talked about it on Tuesday. It's weird that it seems to be getting worse, right? With like the reports of more firings probably coming. I don't know, just confidence at an all-time low in that brand,
Okay.
and it is. You know, it goes back to, I think Jeff has said this also, how weird we both thought it was from the beginning when they started to de-emphasize the console. And it just seemed like, don't you need to sell the console to get people on board with everything else, especially Game Pass? And the kind of response from Philip, people's like, no, not really. We'll go to like where gamers are. And it's like, okay,
Right.
well, you're going there, but no one seems to care or want you there. It seems like inviting them to your party would have been the better strategy. And instead, you're kind of like holding this sad party, and like the invites are about as inviting as that advertising tweet for Hellblade 2.
Mhm.
God, that's such a bad tweet.
You see, like they had like a real like tweet today, like almost seemed
Oh,
like
did
they're like,
they?
oh, oops. Do you think that was because like they were all so sad? It's like we can't like seem excited about anything. Even this
Maybe.
video
We're
game we
different.
have to
Yes, they're
stop.
Okay, so I have a little insight on this because Nikki was talking about this, and they said they've interviewed with the Xbox social team before, and what they say is something like, all I'll say is it's not surprising to me that tweets like that come out.
Mhm.
Apparently, there's a lot of needing to get approval on things
Oh,
and stuff, so
sure.
sometimes they just go an extremely safe route, is what it sounded like. All right. Next up, from AK again, who's responding to the super chat that we already answered. That's how many super chats we got tonight, everybody. Thank you so much.
Wait, people were giving you money when I wasn't here?
I know. A lot more than
bring in the
normal.
dough, man.
I still get my cut.
Don't worry, Mikey gets taken
Mikey gets his
care of.
taste. Don't worry.
Yeah.
How else am I going to afford all these extravagant skating sessions where I hurt myself?
That's how I hurt my wrist too, was skating, Mike. So
Yeah, it was a bad mistake, it turns out.
Yeah. The only time I've ever broken my wrist falling down skating. So yeah,
geez.
stay
Let me
away.
not take his toll.
Anyways, AK says, oh god, it scrolled again because we got more. I've already got a PC. Just really hate using Windows. I know, surprise, since I like the Series X. Deck is nice. Streaming the Series X to deck with Greenlight rules.
Greenlight, huh? I don't think I've used that.
Yeah, I guess Moonlight for Xbox,
okay,
because Xbox
yeah.
does have their own streaming thing. So I assume, that's a third party like Chiaki.
I'm gonna look into that.
I
Cool.
assume that is.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
Uh-oh.
My quack shot speed run has
God
been
damn it.
approved.
Let's fucking go.
It's been approved.
What number are you?
I am ranked 33 in the world at quack shot, everybody.
Let's go. Let's fucking go.
Congrats.
I am an official
Mikey.
quack shot speed
He
runner.
did it, everybody.
How long until you'll be done?
For quite a while. His run is pretty good, actually. I was watching it.
Well, how far up is he?
Dan is like 16th. Let me look. 16. He is 16.
Oh, that sounds doable.
Okay.
He's got
okay.
7 or 6 minutes on me right now.
Okay. So it's gonna be even funnier when I just sneak my way in.
That would be funny.
All right, back to it then. From Annie for Prez, check out Cryptmaster, another excellent indie game to add to the file.
Yeah, I saw this. It looks really cool. It's kind of like monochrome, survival horror, first-person looking thing. I don't know. It's got a lot going on. I want to check it out, but there's so many games right now. Again,
so many freaking games, dude.
I absolutely have to check out Animal Well because people are really buzzing.
sorry, the digital fart happened again. We got to figure out what this is.
Okay.
It might be your mic. I don't know.
I know it might be. Something's dying here. I'm going to switch out my XLR cable. Go ahead, Mike. Finish your story.
I was like, what did I say? Because we both just were like, I was like, I just said I wanted to play Animal Well.
Well, you can't say that.
Goddamn.
What I really want to play is Crow Country.
Yeah, God,
we've been on a big
so good.
PS1 kick,
And those ads are so goddamn good. You know, I'm like such a mark for that stuff, and they nailed it.
Yeah. I need it.
Dude, I'll talk about this at the end of the show. I figured out how to get CRT Royale working as a reshade filter.
Ooh.
You know I'm going to use it on over this weekend, buddy.
I don't know.
Crow
What do you...
Country.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Make that PS1 game look real nice.
What kind of monitor do you have? Like, do you have a 4K or do you 1440p or what?
Sitting right next to me here is this big, beautiful LG OLED.
Oh, okay. That's going to look real good on that. Okay, man.
I've
Ooh.
already tried out a couple things. Again, I'll talk about it later. But
Okay.
it's good stuff. From Burrito, Jeff and Mike. What the hell? What's the deal with grown men in their 40s? AKA Jeff and Mike.
I'm 37.
Skating/rollerblading and eating shit. It hurts bad enough when young. Also, side note, I recently completed my first run of BG3 at 260 hours. Incredible video game.
Holy shit.
Damn, making my Persona 5 numbers look like chump change.
It's impressive because I beat Baldur's Gate 3. I didn't do everything. In fact, I missed out on some stuff. My playthrough was 75 hours. It's like, man, somebody could play that game and beat it and play for over 3 times as much or whatever.
Yep.
It's wild.
A lot of games.
Did you beat it?
I did beat it.
You beat it.
Okay. I knew it was coming.
From Alex, I've never played a Fire Emblem game. What's the best one I could play right now that maybe no one would notice if I played it for free?
Well, which one's the best one with the best femboys?
Oh, that's the newest one.
Okay, there you go.
Shouts to Rosado. Yeah. But I think Three Houses is definitely the
Three
the
Houses
best
is probably still the one to go with.
Right now.
Yeah. The only negative is that slightly kind of muddier aesthetic to it, but
and
whatever.
no feet.
No. Awakening's
3DS.
one with no feet.
I'm in Awakening. You know what? I was in my brain. I thought we were talking about Awakening this whole time.
I think it's the best one.
Yeah.
But it's not as
But you need
accessible
3DS
anymore.
still.
Yeah.
So if you got 3DS laying around, or if you're looking to play it for,
well, they said we're going to play it for
well,
free, so I assume they have ways of doing all these things. Yes.
Yeah, then play Awakening.
Play Awakening. There you go. From Ecto Coolest, any chance Banjo is still a thing given Microsoft's harsh cuts?
I don't fucking know. I mean,
is Banjo? Yeah, we've been asking is Banjo a thing since.
Remember
nuts and bolts, man.
Remember when these acquisitions were happening, we're like, oh, wow, maybe like they're going to bring back franchises like Hexen. I feel like an asshole now.
Yeah, remember that Hexen shirt? He's just wearing, apparently he was just wearing for fun.
Yep.
El Grug, in an attempt to ask a more lighthearted question, what's the deal with Superfly Johnson in Daikatana? Does he exist just to anger Jeff?
I'm not one who, like this is not an abnormal thing. No one likes accompanying NPC characters through levels, but I really don't like it. I really hate it. And the idea that this whole game now is going to be that is, they're like, it's going to get better. I don't think it's going to get better for me.
I mean, that was supposed to be the whole selling point. Like that was supposed to be the big tech showpiece of the game was the companion AI.
Right. And apparently it was like breaking on early on. It was something they were like really struggling to figure out, but they already promised it, so they had to do it. Which is something like Romero was very guilty of on at id, was going online and talking with fans and like being like, yep, this is going to be the biggest shit ever. Here's all the stuff we're doing. And Carmack being like, shut up.
Problem.
Yeah.
Except he would actually feel obligated to have that stuff in the game.
Right. Yes, totally.
Brandon Bishop, I'm loving Hades 2, but man, is it hard to get excited about gaming right now. It's no longer enough to just make a great video game. It sucks. And I'll say, hey, you found Hades 2? Again, we'll talk about it more. That's the future of gaming right there, everybody. Like, play your indies. Play your games from the future, as Jeff put it the other night.
Exactly. Yes, they're right there.
That was a great tweet. Games from the future, games from the past, those are good.
Everything else, I don't know.
From the Uncharted Wolf, Mike is doing the thing he hates on Christian for right now.
Wow. When do I ever hate on Christian?
Mike's the marquee picture here. Look, he's taking up most of the screen.
We got him in the big frame for a reason.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You want Christian to come in and make a 9/11 joke? Is that what you all really want?
You know what?
We've had enough of those today, actually.
Yeah.
From Connell Wood, what species from Zelda would you all be? Gorons?
Human.
Bird people.
Fairy.
Okay.
All right, glad we established that.
Asked and answered.
I know I'd be a Goron, but I want to be a bird person.
Yeah, but
you are the most Goron-ass motherfucker I've ever known.
I didn't even want to say it.
I don't want that for me, though.
Compliment. You're like you look like tough, like rock.
I know, but I want to be a bird.
You could roll around like Sonic and stuff.
I want to fly away.
I
want to live on a mountain.
All right, Forrest Gump.
Jesus. From Jacob Bench, Mike, hype up Chrono Trigger. Context here, Bench is playing Chrono Trigger for the first time.
Yeah, Chrono Trigger is still one of the best JRPGs ever. It's kind of it's like the Hollywood blockbuster of JRPGs. It's very fast paced. It has all the stuff that you want, and it all comes at you real quick. There's something exciting constantly happening. It's simple in ways, but all of it is executed so well. It just feels very premium, even today with being older. Obviously, one of the best soundtracks of all time, one of the prettiest Super Nintendo games. Chrono Trigger was, and always will be one of the best gaming experiences you can ever have.
Yeah, I mentioned that's one of my feel like Square Enix blind spots, a surprising one. I've never played all the way through Chrono Trigger before. I have been watching. Eric Van Allen has actually been doing a playthrough for Axel Blood God on the Twitch channel, and I've been tuning into those streams here and there and just sort of like watching and passing. And I haven't watched the recent ones because I don't want to spoil it, because it is an RPG I want to play for myself. And I just that's just a game I need to play, but. Again, there's so much to play right now, and I got to caught up on that.
I think we're all kind of like, at some point they're gonna do some kind of re-release or something with Chrono Trigger, but
you'd think.
Who knows when? You would think.
Last one for now, Willow Davis. I missed the world when it still had Mike's wrist in it.
How bad does it hurt?
It was weird because I was like, it hurt immediately. Then I was like, maybe it's okay. Then it didn't hurt too much until I was driving and turning the wheel. I was like, oh, that hurts. That's weird.
Mine hurt really bad, and I was like worried.
Right here.
Yeah, literally the exact same spot. I was worried And then I did wrap it up and like kept it compressed and kept it raised above my heart for like about a day, and or just like kept it elevated, and it got better really, really fast. I was surprised how quickly it healed. So
I bet it's fine. I'll see how it feels in the morning.
If you're
I know a guy. Is the good news.
There you go. If you're not having a lot of pain like constantly, you're probably going to be fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, like the risk, because I'm just old, like hurts more often than it usually does. I like sleep with a brace on it anyway.
Oh, sure, that
so it might
thing,
just be like it's already, all that quack shotting, right? It was already,
I mean, you're in your 40s now. You get to that.
I'm not in my 40s. Look, I have 2.5 sweet years left. You gotta let me enjoy them.
All right. Well, that is your
Jesus.
I'll be like Jeff. I'll be practically dead. People will just send shit smell machines to my house, and I'll just begrudgingly plug them in. And
I can tell Dan's not watching right now because it's not going off, thankfully. So.
Oh, we got one more here from Willow Davis. Mike could still play Blight Club, but can't beat it.
I shouldn't. No, that's TMI.
I know what you're about to say. That's TMI. All right. Well, that does it for the super chats for now. That's like
I beat it.
It was actually too much information.
I beat it.
It actually was. Yeah.
Hey, you come at me.
I warned y'all. I knew what was coming.
This is what we get, Chad. Thanks a lot.
Anyways, thank you, AJ. That was your 40 plus minutes of super chats. Thank you so much.
Aren't you glad I'm back?
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for those super chats. Really appreciate it. If we get any more, we will read those as well. So feel free to send those in. Thank you for the over 700 people that are watching. We're going to take another quick break. We're going to get set up for the second half of this show. We'll get right back after this.
Second half? How long you guys been going?
I
thought I was coming in at the tail end.
We just started, Mike.
All right, let's see here.
You getting things set up?
Yeah, I'm getting things set up.
All right, I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to run get a drink. Maybe some ice. Nah, ice is for cowards.
You're not supposed to use ice anymore.
What?
Yeah, ice is evil.
We're dropping the ice.
We're dropping the ice. Ice is over. It's washed.
Yeah. The new tech is worm stuff.
Yeah, it's worms in your brains.
Right.
Worm.
No, it's not warm either. It's just compression. And not even like...
Just compression?
Yeah, and not even like aspirin that like lowers the swelling. The swelling's good, apparently.
All right.
Yeah, they canceled ice.
Oh, what the ice did? Don't tell me. I don't want to know what ice did. I still put it in my beverages, so...
Okay, let's see here.
This is for cowards. Cocaine is fucking... Yeah, my only thing is...
Filters.
Saying truth.
All right.
Has sugar for the first time in the month, and it's like
typing.
Typing stuff.
Ooh, it's just like the pain. I mean, it's not like the sharpest pain in the world, but that spike up. We'll see how that feels tomorrow.
Yeah.
Chef, your by the way, your Discord notifications are.
They're going off.
We can hear them. Yeah, they're going. They were going off.
Oh,
Not now, but earlier. Yeah, I heard.
This tab wasn't muted. Okay, well, it's muted now. All right, there's that.
How'd the wrestlers do on the dump truck?
They did very well, apparently.
Okay.
I'll listen for a little bit, and then I had to do stuff. Anyway, the little bit that I listened to it was pretty funny.
Yep.
Well, look at that.
Right. Good. Look at you problem solving.
Yep, I figured it out. All right, there we go. Well, okay, so you fell. Did you actually get out there and do some skating, though?
Oh, kind of. I was very bad. I think I could kind of push with my right foot. Whenever I tried to do it with my left, it just wasn't happening. So I was like always on the wall. Yeah.
You know, you did a triple toe loop.
No.
Are you just not much of a skater, Mike?
Wow, this is the first time I skated since I was like a kid. Like me and my, it's like this. It's like the same skating rink is open here since when we were kids. And we had like field trips there. So me and my friends were like, we want to go do that. And adult night is only Thursday night, so that's why we had to go kind of now.
You should watch Yuri on Ice. You're gonna love it.
I know that
skating.
one.
It's not
apparently
what
I
you think
don't.
it is. It's not what you think it is. We were all fooled by the name Yuri on Ice. Don't worry.
I thought it was one of those sports animes.
It is a sport.
Oh, it is. Okay, never mind. Well, Mike's knowledgeable. Yeah.
Wait, what would people think? You're on ice. It's the gay ice skating show, right?
No, well, I mean,
Well, it is gay.
It's gay, but Yuri.
Wait, can we? I just got my
Yuri
first
has
Christian.
that other meeting. Sure, okay.
No, Yuri is lesbian.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This is dudes.
Right. Yeah.
really
No,
want
that's
to
why I do
yell
that.
at ice.
Right.
I really want Christian, a soundboard of Christian saying, "Well, it is gay."
That's a good thing, goddammit.
I mean, you know, it'd be due. Anyways, we're going long. We should get into this.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. I'm bringing us back in. And we're back, and what we're going to talk about now is what we think gaming's going to look like in like 5 years, or whatever. The time frame is what it is. We've talked a lot about like what's happening right now with Xbox and a little bit on PlayStation and Nintendo. In 5 years, let's start with you, Mike. What do you think gaming looks like?
I don't want to be as crazy pessimistic as I am feeling in this moment. I am concerned, though. Again, the biggest thing that concerns me, there's multiple things, but just how much more expensive and longer games are taking to make. And we see how that is disastrous for things like a Suicide Squad, but for just any studio. Because it's like, okay, well, if we're going to put you on something like a Redfall, like that's going to be the game you are working on now for 8 years. And if it doesn't hit, is somebody going to really pay for you to try again anymore? And even Nintendo, and you know, they're like Q&A with investors. They're like, yeah, we also expect our games to take longer and be more expensive to make. Even there, and like that's a scary thought. Like right now, it's great that we still get Nintendo games at a pretty fast clip. A little slower this year for obvious reasons, but that like hits up with Nintendo too. That's scary. So if something doesn't happen there, if everyone is just like, well, that's the way it is, I guess they're going to take longer and be more expensive, then I'm pretty concerned about the future of AAA gaming. I think there's just going to be more retreating to a handful of games, and you'll get things like a Grand Theft Auto 6, maybe Last of Us 3, and big things like that. Sure, even Capcom. And Capcom doing great now. That's awesome. Few people are a bigger fan of Capcom than me right now. But we're still talking about infinite growth. They are going to eventually not be able to make more money one year than the other. Like if something is going to peak or change or just be different, and they're going to have a bad year. And then what? That's it? All the past success doesn't matter anymore? So there's a lot of challenges in that AAA space and in that traditional console space, and it's very hard to see where it is 5 years from now. It's hard to imagine it's in a great place. But meanwhile, you know, indies seem to be doing really well, and they're also just at a spot now where an indie game doesn't mean only so many things anymore, right? An indie game could be almost any kind of game now, and there are gaps, and indie games are filling them in, and I think indie games are going to continue to do that.
Yeah, Sean, when we were like talking about alluding to this topic earlier, you're like, hey, we're going to talk about that when we said indie games. Do you want to jump off on that point?
No, I think Mike just really already set us up good for it, because the more things inflate, the more we're going to look to these very small teams. And, you know, like Mike said, indie can mean a lot of things. It's a stupid title in general.
Sure.
But these teams of like even just one person or like a small handful of people making something small in scope, and that's all they're trying to do. They're not getting a ton of a feature creep. Obviously, everyone always does in their projects, but they can keep in check, and they're going to put this smaller thing out for somewhere in the $8 to $20 range on Steam. Sometimes you'll get something that's a little more premium, like your Hades, that's going to be more in the $30 range. But broadly speaking, these smaller games are going to be the things that are more sustainable in the long run, because we don't have these massive teams trying to make something that's wildly unrealistic goals for the parent company, for whoever they're working for. And I think that's going to be a thing that sticks around more, where we're wondering, what is the next big game from Xbox, from PlayStation, from whoever? But you'll always just be able to look to Steam and see, hey, this dope new PS1 style horror game or whatever just came out on Steam. We got another one of those that everyone can check out and have fun with over the weekend. I think those are going to be more and more important. But The other thing that I want to talk about was hardware, and I think this is something that we're seeing all the platforms really outside of Nintendo, because look, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, Nintendo get a Nintendo. They're going to do whatever the hell they want, and it will probably be successful.
Yeah,
they're almost
they'll
out of the conversation.
They will have their misses, but they'll probably succeed in the end.
Yeah. They'll probably have a Wii U situation again where they just completely misread the market. But I don't see that happening with this next system. Probably even after that. But when it comes to hardware in general, I do think we are going to see PlayStation going more into PC gaming and maybe leaning into the PC handhelds or their own handheld in the future. I don't know if it would be their own handheld, but at least like partnering in that way. Microsoft, they talked a lot of shade on them tonight, but they are moving in ways that I think are smart and moving into cloud-based gaming and everything like that. I know we're not the biggest fans of stuff like that, but if they can start making it better, there is an audience for that. There is a market for that who will just bust out their phone, play a game that they can easily just access by paying for a subscription, mess around with for an hour or whatever, and then get back to whatever they're doing. There is a market for that. They just need to find the right way to get out to those people. So I think we're going to see things become more hardware agnostic as a whole. Doesn't mean that your box is going away forever. Maybe we get to the point, probably not within 5 years, but maybe starting to get into like the 10-year, even 15-year point where maybe consoles are boutique. Maybe they are something that is more of a limited run thing, a PlayStation Direct thing where you order
a record
directly
player.
from them. Yeah, it's like maybe like a record player thing, like vinyl, where your console with your physical copies and all that. That is a boutique thing, but everyone else
analog will become one of the major creators of consoles, right?
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, yeah, maybe. Who knows?
I really like a lot of those points, and Mike, you mentioned earlier, like I don't want to be as pessimistic as I feel in this moment. I think that's a really good point, because there's every chance in the world that in 5 years we're like, hey, man, remember how bad we were feeling about games a few years back? And now look at this. A bunch of kids from Gen Z woke up one day and that they decided they want consoles. They want to try out those games now.
God, I hope that happens. That is one of my big fears too, really. It's just like none of them ever really adopt, let alone consoles, but just kind of like games outside of the big five or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. But I think there's a chance that they'll like get bored of that stuff eventually and want to try doing different stuff. And if one of these companies can stick it out to the point where they're waiting for that audience, they could capitalize. I think that's what happened at the beginning of the PS4 generation, and it could happen again. That's like the positive scenario. I think the very realistic scenario is we are in a long transition period of we talk about infinite growth for making money. We were in infinite growth for returns on technology since the beginning of making video games. And we did plateau on that in about 2016. And games just, 1080p 60 is not every game at that point, but a lot of the games that looked about as good as anything else were hitting that mark at that time. And we just don't need games that look that much better. And, the evidence is before our very eyes. We got Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018, and no game really actually looks better than that. No game really looks better than The Last of Us Part 2 from around the same time. Because the limiting factor is money. So I think what's happening right now, part of what's happening is that we are learning that games are not just technological marvels, and they aren't just things meant to wow us with their graphics and fidelity, that there is more to them than that. And, I think we know that, but there's a wider audience that's the expectation since the beginning. And so it's like, it's taken a long time to unlearn that. And I think the indie scene is beginning to bubble in a way where people are like, oh, the Latra, that's an interesting idea. This is a game I'm going to play forever. And I think there's a chance in like by 5 years from now, like we are much more receptive to games coming out of anywhere and looking like any sort of different take on games. And it's a lot more like the music scene, where it's just like there's little pockets of different kinds of games that people are playing, and everyone is finding something that they like. And not there are the GTA 6s that will blow up and be massive, but the normal expectation is you're going to find your audience and you're going to play to them and you're going to do really well. And then occasionally there's going to be a big hit, but you should be playing to an audience. And I think we can get to that point and sort of reset the expectations for games. And it's a world where these smaller teams can make that make sense. That would be something that feels more sustainable long term. Now, when it comes to Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo, I think that the boutique scenario seems likely for Microsoft. I think PlayStation will continue being like the consumer electronics brand, and Nintendo will continue being the family brand. Whether or not that's going to be satisfactory for any of those companies, I think Nintendo will be able to make it work. But whether like being, hey, we're going to appeal to people who really want the high-end piece of machinery over at Sony, they want more growth than that, and they might be in a situation where they have to like try some stuff and make that make sense. I still don't know what that looks like. So 5 years from now, I think we probably have a Microsoft that's putting out games everywhere, and they have a box that has an Xbox name on it, but it's like the equivalent, like a Steam machine or something like that, something that looks like that, where it's just, it's a PC. You can put whatever you want on there. They call it the Xbox. It costs a lot of money, but it runs games really well. And then over at PlayStation, they are doing the PlayStation 6, and it's mostly what we expect. And then in terms of just everything else, I feel like this industry's got a lot of figuring out when it comes to the next form of business model to make them money. And I think they're going to keep floundering on that. I don't think there is any obvious answer there. I think it is making a cool, new, interesting game. That'll be the answer, not some new way to monetize us. And I think that's going to take them a long time to figure out. That's not something they want to be doing over and over again as well. So
we sometimes forget just how young this industry still is.
Yes.
And I think it kind of felt the same and had the same players for such a long time that maybe you kind of take it for granted that it's always going to be that way. So maybe, maybe it is finally really going to change soon. And maybe it's going to change in a way that like some people like me aren't going to like, but but who knows? And maybe it'll change in ways that other people like, these younger generations do like, and that's fine. Right. That's life.
Right. I think we'll find a way to we'll find our way in gaming. Like, I'm not going to stop playing games.
There will be games for me to play, like old and new. It'll be fine. Yeah. But yeah, like that traditional, that's kind of what I was getting at. Like maybe PlayStation and Xbox aren't the future of gaming. Like, for so long for me, that was synonymous with gaming. Which you talk about video games, you mostly meant playing things on a PlayStation or an Xbox. And I don't think that's really going to be true.
Yep.
It might be, though.
We brought that up a couple times earlier in the show because it is emblematic of where things are going. If even someone like you who, maybe self-admittedly even a little stubborn about it is like, no, this is the way things are. This is the way things will always be. Sort of seeing, change is coming, and maybe it looks ugly for me. Maybe it looks ugly for everyone, but change is coming. And I think everyone will have something to play, even if like you said, different generations are into different things. We're a little bit further apart, so I'm into some things that you guys aren't. Like I have a bigger tendency, not a lot, but I do have a higher tendency to play mobile games and stuff like that, or newer IPs that I grew up with. And I think there's going to be those. There's going to be the old IP sticking around that you guys are more interested in, and there's going to be the live service stuff. I think it's just how much of each we see is going to change. When Jeff brought up the indie thing again of what development looks like on that, I did realize I want to say before we move on here that I forget what the name of the game is, so forgive me there, but it was one of those like one person or small team Steam games that came out, and it was a horror game, but it's made in Unreal Engine 5. And they were very smart with it, where they used a VCR, VHS tape filter over everything, just gently. And just a little bit of obfuscation, just like sort of hiding everything, made this Unreal Engine 5 game look like real life. It's like
the rain in Jurassic Park 1. I like that.
Like if you're smart with the tech that you have on hand, you can make something look really good. I think that's going to have to be what we see more of going forward. Because if, like, again, one person or a small team can make something that looks photorealistic because they are given the tools to do so and they are smart with how they use them, I think we're going to need more of that in order for us to stay sustainable.
Here's my final prediction. Donkey will be the president of video games in 5 years.
Fucking yeah.
He deserves it. Yep. Yeah. It finally happened. Also, I think my mic is dying. So that's cool.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so scared.
Yep. We'll figure it out. I'm going to restart everything and plug everything back in and unplug it after the show. We'll make it work. All right. We got some one sentence responses from our podcast producers about what they think the future looks like. Nick Turbo says Chinese handhelds for all.
Wait, I'm trying to read this. Just make sure you line up.
Sure. Yeah. You got to look the other way. There, perfect. All right. And then let's see here. Bench JC says it'll be fine. I don't think we should really fear for the end of gaming. Yeah, not the end of gaming. Maybe the end of gaming as we know it, but that's that's
a different look,
right?
A different look for gaming.
The gaming's always been changing. The gaming as we know it has ended several times. Arcades are dead, right? Like this has happened over and over again. Haas Portal
Pretty good.
says pretty rough. Steam and indie are the most likely games leading the way. Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely like the way I feel because, and like I've always said, in indie and like early access on Steam feels like that's where anything can happen, and not anything feels like it can happen on these other consoles. The Rebirth Wolf 5 says, I don't care as long as FromSoft and Nintendo are still making games. I think you read along with the sentence there. But yeah, that was pretty good.
I'm trying to read.
Yeah, it's really good.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people's favorite developers aren't going to be going anywhere, right?
Well, I mean, I bet once upon a time I thought that the Arkham Asylum people, Rocksteady, would have been pretty safe for a long time. Today, everyone's real worried about them. Yeah. Things change. Things can change.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. I mean, if FromSoft and Nintendo,
a bummer. No, they're gonna be around forever because they're doing great right now. Never mind.
You're right though. You're right. You definitely are. Jackie G says, "Old man yells at cloud." Well, that's the name of this show. So
what are you talking about? How dare you?
Casual says, "I think we as a society will revert to an egg-based economy." Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
I'm down.
Even these troubling times.
Evo, yes. Evo Janice says, fairly similar to how it is literally right now. Sparse releases, same old free-to-play model games, making all the money, and Nintendo being the last true holdout of the ways of old. Yeah, I think maybe 5 years ago, in a lot of ways, could feel like that's not too far away, and things will probably be mostly the same. Maybe like 10 years is the one where it's like, well, hey, that could be anything at that point, but we'll see. Screaming Madden says Nintendo will be fine, whereas Madden will carry the PS6 and Xbox 720. They should just eventually do an Xbox 720, right? If they're going to keep making hardware.
I mean, what's the last Xbox people feel real good about?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Why not?
Paul Giamatti says less meaningful gap between mobile and console tech, with more games scaling for mobile as a priority and consoles as a more niche crossplay / save option. Yeah, I mean, we do see that. We see this with iPhone. More and more games are just working with that because they can just work with Apple devices across the board.
Right now, you got 15 Pro being able to just straight up play PS4 level games.
Yep.
And I think, as that trickles down to the lower models and future models, mobile gaming is going to get better as an option, especially if you slap a backbone on that sucker.
Chef, do you saw, speaking of mobile, do you saw that new Ioneo DS that has like a dedicated port for like GPUs that you can connect? That's kind of...
I don't know if I saw that one, but I mean, I know there's ones that work with like eGPUs. Is that what you mean?
Yes, eGPUs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if I saw the device, but yeah, I know they are capable of doing that for sure. Velocity Prime 1 says, honestly, Xbox is mostly a third-party publisher. Sony still has a console, but is shifting to PC. And Nintendo stands firm as the console manufacturer. Always Be Clothing / Corgi says, welcome to hell.
Wow.
And has Prince speech in hell. Joy Z says,
sure is.
I honestly
can't see past Peach.
Yeah, you're in hell with her. Look at that.
Wow. Okay, I'm uncomfortable when you put my eyes right under her dress.
Joy Z says, I honestly don't feel the industry at large has changed much in the last 10 years or so, so I don't think it will look meaningfully different. Yeah, what was 10 years ago? 2014. I don't know.
Just after the launch of PS4.
Yeah, that felt like, okay, maybe that was false bravado, but that felt like, man, everything is going the console gaming's way in that moment.
Well, because we thought it was going away, because it was like, oh, everybody said mobile is going to kill this, and look how many people still play console games. Guess they were wrong. So there's a little bit of a swagger there, but mobile never really went away, and then they started putting things like Fortnite on mobile, so kids weren't just playing like Candy Crush or whatever,
Surfers,
Angry Birds, right? So they were playing like a game that they could actually play forever and be their only game on there, so that became a problem.
Weezeman says, dudes, I really hope Switch 2 keeps having as many weird indies as its predecessor. I think indie games will keep coming out like mad on the Switch 2 because they sell really well on the Switch.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Jamie H. Christmas Eve says, 1, Epic will try and fail to launch a handheld PC. Tim Sweeney will somehow blame Apple. 2, Mike will have a run at AGDQ. And 3,
that sounds so scary.
Jeff
that
will
sounds so stressful.
Still be escorting Superfly Johnson through Daikatana.
Man.
5 years. Teriyaki Blue says, hopefully jobs are more secure. That feels like that'll never happen. That's like the thing where like,
Unfortunately.
At least not in America.
Right.
No.
Mr. Bowler says, Google Stadia first launched almost 5 years ago, so I'll predict that we'll have another non-gaming company make an ill-conceived attempt at entering the market before quickly shutting it down. Yeah, that was another thing from like 10 to 5 years ago. Like Amazon and Google felt like, all right, we're coming in. Everyone get ready. And now that feels like laughable because they know how difficult that would be. They both like kind of learned their lesson the hard way. Freedom McLiberty Ball says, Xbox will be the Call of Duty only platform. Yeah.
I mean, but it can't because people will just play it on PlayStation. So then there just won't be an Xbox if that's what they want to try. I know they're joking, but like that can't be the strategy.
Nope. I mean, it can be if they don't care if there's not an Xbox, though. I mean, so
the next Xbox is going to be the biggest generational leap ever.
Yeah,
God, that's right.
They do say that. Symbiosis says Sony's proposed foray into live service games, surprise, doesn't pan out. It's working well for Helldivers too, although I bet that's going to be difficult to replicate.
It's going to be difficult to replicate. But how many more? Again, I asked before. Okay, Helldivers 2, giant success. How many more of those do they need? Because getting one seems like a miracle. So like, if they have 3 of those, are they just set now?
And when you say it like that, it's like, well, we got it, everybody. So you don't need to work on yours anymore. That's
no.
Oh, fuck, that sucks.
Oh, God.
Chaos Buckaroo says multiple indie games will regularly make it into the big game of the year and top 10 sales chart. Yeah, I think well, you guys were getting to this earlier. The like sort of line of demarcation between indie games and AAA games will get blurrier and blurrier. Like it's gonna be like, this is photorealistic. This looks just as good as anything else. The tools will be there in a lot of ways. So I agree with that. Aubert says, I think we are primed for 2 to 3 of the forever games falling off big time to be replaced by fresh trends. My money is on Microsoft fumbling Call of Duty somehow. Yeah,
that'd be incredible.
These games will. I mean, it feels right now they'll last forever, but they won't. There will be a time when these things do get replaced, right?
But yeah, and it's like part of me feels like, I don't want to celebrate that.
No, but
it would also kind of be a good thing.
Well, I mean, I've been playing Manor Lords. You got to leave some ground fallow for a year. Like sometimes you need to like rotate your crops, right? Like, or else you get a dust bowl. That honestly, I think that's a pretty good metaphor. I think we're in.
I mean, how long has Counter-Strike been around in its current form?
Yeah,
yes, that's what I was about to say. Like Counter-Strike has been the same video game for the last 20 years.
I think the select few will stick around and have their audience like your Fortnites, but yeah.
But I don't think I think the idea is that like Counter-Strike's success never seemed like it was sucking the oxygen out of the room, even at its highest point.
Yeah,
I think
we're still getting Call of Duty and other things happening during that. Yeah,
right. And I think that the biggest games sort of having that effect. I think that will fall off. Fortnite's not going to go away. Minecraft's not going to go away. Roblox
is Roblox going to go away?
I don't know.
Maybe Roblox can go. Like everyone's.
Are
people aging out of Roblox?
Yeah,
does Roblox keep bringing in new kids?
The thing about Roblox
it's been around since 2006, so they definitely are bringing in new kids.
It's effectively just a tool set. So if a better tool set comes along, then it'll get replaced.
If anything, Roblox is going to be bigger because people's making games on Roblox now. They even show it in that whatever presentation that happens.
Yeah, there was one in some showcase.
So, yeah. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're fine, Christian. Please feel free to speak, my friend.
Jedi Moss 4 says you all will still be waiting on those Zelda ports, and Nintendo will still never release them. Son of a bitch.
5 years. I mean, it's been longer now since the release of the Wii U version than it was between the original release of Wind Waker and that Wii U version. That's weird.
My least favorite factoid.
Oh, Christ.
I hate that so much.
No, this is just what I said earlier. You don't have to read it.
Oh, okay, fair
I
enough.
already verbalized this.
It's too long. Also, yeah, skip it.
I know. I was like a hot shot. Like I can make mine slightly longer because I'm important around here.
Well, Lenny Cool Dick Denver came in and got it right with no new F-Zero game. That's all.
A distinct possibility.
Yeah, like very likely. Vanderlyle says Xbox pays Capcom $100 billion to make Dan Hibiki an Xbox exclusive Street Fighter 7 character.
I want what you're smoking.
Yeah, $100 billion is nowhere near enough.
Is Hibiki? Is this that Dan? Is that Dan's last name? Hibiki?
Dan Hibiki, yeah.
I didn't know he had a last name. That's just Dan.
He's just Dan. All right, where am I at? Bopies 2, like it's in Hades 2. I don't really think much.
Bopies, that's Bop. Why would it be Bope all of a sudden?
I don't, just like the way that the E's makes it sound in my head. Boppies.
From Boppies 2.
It's like Hades.
This really threw you off.
It really threw me off. I don't really think much will change, so I'll throw out a fun one. Apple buys Sony, the PlayStation brand, / the PlayStation brand. Sure, why not? Mason _ W says, I feel Nintendo and Steam will be fine, but Microsoft will be a majority third party and Sony will make fewer AAA games and double down on live services. Dr. Ryan says, I honestly don't know, and trying to think of an answer for this made me really bummed. I don't want video games to go bad. I've been playing them since I was 5 and I don't want to stop. Yeah, and again, I think we're going to find stuff to enjoy. It's just, I do think maybe it would benefit us to like look in places we haven't before. That's all.
Yeah, just find your joy elsewhere. Yeah. Exactly.
Get an Amico.
Let Tommy just show you the world.
Or get the new Roger Ally they're going to announce tomorrow, right?
Yes, I was wondering if someone was going to bring up that up as a super chat. If not, we'll talk about it here in a second. Nolan Water says new game consoles will be released every few years, similar to phones with incremental updates. Do you think that's an idea that could still work?
I mean, if you're already having trouble selling consoles, I don't know if selling more of them more often. I mean, maybe it's a matter of taking advantage of the crowd you have, and that they would
maybe
upgrade that often. Maybe. Like I said earlier, like I think maybe Xbox should just go all in on making real high-end stuff and making a really expensive game console. I don't know if you could do that every 2 years if you're going to go that route, though.
Yeah, I think dedicated consoles will never do that. Home consoles, at least. But we're going to see more Steam Deck stuff moving forward. I think those are things that'll have more incremental upgrades.
Well, like ROG Ally, right? Like the original ROG Ally's not that old. They're announcing a new one tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, but a couple of years between them, yeah, it's fine.
It's going to have the same processor and same screen. It's going to have a bigger battery. It's basically doing what the Steam Deck OLED did, just without the OLED.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's not that much of a bummer because the only thing the Roger Ally really needs, other than a better version of Windows, is a bigger battery. Like that's huge for that thing. That'll make it much more usable. All right, where am I at here? I think with Hammond of Texas, I choose correctly as a kid when I decided to become a PC gamer. PC was the best choice then and will continue to be the best choice in 5 years. Yeah, I mean, I'm never going to regret the time I spent with consoles, but I am mostly a PC gamer at this point, and it does feel like that is a safe platform due to its openness, making it sort of feel like it can weather whatever comes and gets thrown at it.
Yeah, every once in a while I have good calls, actually quite frequently, because I hyperanalyze this shit so much. Yeah, but two of my favorites are, one, I called Fortnite, but no one believed in that shit. But two, back in 2013, me and my friends were going into college, and they were asking me, these new consoles, what do I get? Do I get the PS4? Do I get the Xbox One? I said, neither. We all build gaming PCs. And it was the best decision my friend group ever made.
Yeah,
I want a 5090.
Yeah, sure. I made that decision like a couple years after that. I'm like, I learned the hard way after trying to enjoy those consoles. Yeah. Jeremy Biff says Game Freak buys Square Enix. Yeah, sure. That'd be fun.
That's nonsensical.
Knee Deep in Blood and Guts says the console space will have collapsed, leaving Tommy Tallarico with a perfect opportunity to rebuild it in his image.
Yeah,
I already made an Amico joke.
Do you know he was in Creeps twice?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was in Cribs twice.
His
Yeah,
mother's very proud.
yeah. I do like the idea of a gaming future that like where Tommy Tallarico is just the Biff Tannen with the book of like he could see the
Almanac,
Sports
yeah.
Almanac.
the
yeah.
sports almanac. Yeah, that's very good. Domino Crossing says,
I'm sorry. I just have to say it. I really like Back to the Future. Back to the Future rules.
we know, and
Real
I do
good.
too.
It's real
good.
good.
Yeah.
And it's been like mostly unsullied compared to a lot of other things.
Oh, sure,
Back
yes.
to the Future. So hot.
Man, they
So hot.
they did a legacy sequel to that now. That'd be a bummer.
Yeah.
Domino Crossing says Metroid Prime 4 will probably be out. Knocks on wood. Let's not get crazy.
Speaking of legacy sequels, how about that Gollum movie?
Yeah, what are they doing there? That's it. Well, okay.
Well, if it's called The Hunt for Gollum, I assume it's the story of Aragorn / Strider hunting for Gollum, which, okay.
Yeah,
You gotta do a whole movie of that.
Well, no, you could do a whole trilogy. Turn into 3 movies.
I mean, they're not gonna get Vigo, are they? Vigo's gotta be. Is Vigo look old yet? I don't know.
He looks
It's been
kinda
a long
old.
He looks
time.
very old.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
know
it can't be him.
He lives around the corner.
Yeah,
Why are they hunting in Gollum?
because he's
It's literally so it literally happens in the books after Gollum is taken in by Mordor and is interrogated. Then Strider hunts him down so that they can interrogate Gollum themselves, basically.
Cool.
being directed by Andy Serkis, who did another movie recently that wasn't very good. Crouching Boomer.
Which one?
Hidden-
Wait, which one wasn't very
I
good?
can't remember the name of it, but I remember he was like he directed a movie and he did like all the press for it, and then I remember like reading that the reviews weren't very good. I'd have to look it up. Crouching Boomer Hidden Zoomer says a Captain Toad in every house. The true dream of Mark's finally coming to fruition. 2-time champ Beef Hammer says I'll be the 7-time champ.
Not 5. Anything to say about it?
Wow.
Hack 1501 says there will be
Oh,
less.
he did Venom 2.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did Venom
What?
too. That's right.
That's right. He's Let There Be Carnage.
He let there be carnage, and that was his contribution to art.
When you say that's a bad movie, China disagrees with you.
Okay, well, China
Yeah.
don't care.
Wolverine's about to be huge in China.
Hack 1501 says there will be
Just
fewer.
don't tell them about the Easterlings.
Well, that's not a reference to that. That's no. Oh boy.
Well, boy.
Hack 1501 says there will be fewer AAA and AA as the buyouts will end in more closures, but more smaller studios will pop up. The B game devs will continue to suffer. Yeah, I mean, I think if you are trying to be a big company making small games, that's going to be a difficult thing to pull off, despite what Matt Booty says. Although, I want them to figure that out, but I don't know. Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm so glad Ubisoft made, Prince of Persia and the other Prince of Persia that's coming out. It seems like maybe they aren't being big hits, and it's upsetting. And I don't know why that is the case. I don't know how you fix that problem. And maybe the problem is, even though, hey, you're a big company, you're making smaller games, that's great, but your expectations for them are still kind of big, right? Like, I bet Prince of Persia Lost Crown still sells so better than pretty much every indie Metroidvania outside of like a Hollow Knight, right? But is that good enough? I don't know.
That doesn't seem like it. Let's see. Low Rule says Sony and Xbox will make 2 games a year that are blockbuster style games, and Nintendo will still be making a ton of wacky games. I hope so. T Money OG says Switch 2 will be the top selling console. Sony will be releasing more games on PC day and date, and Microsoft will release only Call of Duty and 1 other AAA game per year at most. I mean, there was that like, hey, we're gonna have a game a quarter, and that feels like, are you ever gonna really get to that point now? Because it doesn't seem like that's your interest anymore. Adam GC says, hopefully more publishers acting like Sega of all companies, doubling down on AA stuff like Jet Set Radio, Golden Axe, etc., to fill in the gaps between AAA.
I thought that was a super game, Jet Set Radio.
Yeah, they still have the super games coming. Yeah, I hope that strategy works out for Sega. I don't know if I
There's a part of me, like, I really want it to.
Yeah.
There's that part of me, it's like, look, I'm excited for Strider. I hope other people are. Because, like, again, like, yeah, they have what Lizard Cube, I think, is making that Strider game. It looks amazing.
Shinobi.
Shinobi, excuse me. I got my 16-bit ninjas mixed up. But it's like, oh man, if he like, is this really gonna do much better than the Prince of Persia game? I don't know.
Maybe not, but it also doesn't have to, you know?
Maybe it doesn't have to. Again, it's all about their expectations.
If
of
they're
it, right?
okay with it, exactly.
Like they better have low expectations for their weird Golden Axe game that they're making.
think
right?
You know, we talked about the difference between Western and Japanese developers and publishers early in the show. I think that is one of the differences as well. It's just the expectations overall of these smaller
they scope
games.
it lower, so smaller, right? I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
Square Enix is the poster child for terrible expectations, but outside of them, it seems like these other companies can keep the scope lower. I don't know what I'm expecting for them in terms of like, does Sega think it's a success? I just hope those games are actually high quality. That's what I want from them.
But
And
you know, you can get stuff like Arc System Works celebrating when one of their fighting games sells over 1 million copies because they're like, this is crazy how insane this is. Whereas 1 million for so many Western companies would be a total
it would be a
abysmal
waste
failure.
of time. Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's see here. Zoomers, I believe, gaming on the go and multi-platform games will be the things that thrive, plus wider adoption of VR compared to now. I mean, we have VR. I don't think I just don't know if
I don't
that's
know about VR.
I don't know about VR. I mean, look, Apple did the Vision Pro, and no one cares about that. So, and that.
Well, it's also like $1,100 or something.
Nope, higher. Keep going higher.
No,
Mike.
it's
Oh,
more,
cool.
it's like 400.
A lot higher.
Keep going higher, Mike. What's
Yeah.
the price? What do you think?
$2,000?
No, keep
Higher.
going.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
2,200?
High,
Keep
a
going.
lot higher,
you're,
Mike.
you're still really far away.
Yeah.
$3,000?
Bingo.
Yeah.
It's
No,
is it
3K.
3,500? I thought it was 3,500.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's 3K.
Okay, all right. Either way,
All right.
What the hell?
Yeah. For what's basically a better Quest 3.
Oh,
boy.
there better be
What's
some
the
real
face on
good
the
porn
phone?
on there.
Oh no,
Oh, it
porn
is
doesn't work.
3,500.
Porn doesn't work
they
on there.
blocked porn.
Yeah.
They
Porn
blocked
Porn
in the
doesn't work
system
on
now.
there.
They blocked it.
Yep.
You can. It's for work, goddammit.
It does not function with the like the APIs or whatever the protocols that they use
but
for
I
porn.
believe it just doesn't have a video player. is
Right,
what
it
is.
doesn't have the accurate kind of video player. That
Yeah,
you would need for it.
you need to use like their approved apps or something.
I almost
like
made
that,
a left-hand joke.
Like a Dylan Infinite Wealth says, Mike is elected king of gaming. No, that's for
I thought
Donkey.
No.
Yeah, I already said that's gonna
Yeah.
be Donkey. I'm sorry. I'll be Emperor.
Yeah, there you go. Tommy Pencil says Nintendo, Capcom, FromSoft, and indies will be fine. God help the rest of the industry. Input name here says Minecraft 2. God. Is that something they eventually do? Minecraft 2?
It can't work.
Yeah.
It'll be like all these other things you try to do with 2. Like, yeah, the big hit. It'll be like Kerbal Space Program 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like EverQuest 2. if you wanna
Overwatch
really go
2.
back.
You know,
Oh, yeah,
like,
well,
no,
that's a
no.
whole thing. Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't think there's ever a Minecraft 2.
Well, no. What if they have like a huge update and they call it Minecraft 2, like Counter Strike 2 is Counter Strike?
But I mean, that's what Overwatch 2 was. And it kind
Yeah,
of like,
like,
didn't work.
If they need to
Many
do
of
that,
these
it's so
Counter-Strike 2,
fucking
yeah.
simple and it blows my goddamn mind that they don't do this. You need to call it 2.0.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Because then people can continue just calling it, just call it Minecraft. But if it's the 2.0 update, you make a big deal out of it, but it's still Minecraft,
Yep, that's true. JD Camp says Miyamoto will retire. What do you say? 5 years from now, Miyamoto's fully retired?
I mean, I think his responsibilities will continue to become less and less.
Yep.
He'll be like an ambassador. He won't have like that title,
Yeah.
which is like a real honorary thing when you become an ambassador.
Right.
But that's a lot of what he'll be doing. Is he'll be working on the cross media stuff a lot. He'll be showing up for openings and premieres and pictures and things like that. I think he's going to be less in the trenches of game development.
Yep.
Fudsec says we'll be introduced to quintuple A games. Yeah, it's
just-
only a matter of time now.
It is incredible. And of course, the one game like Xbox was throwing the quadruple A thing around for is the one that it sounds like is in big trouble.
Yeah.
Maybe not big trouble.
It's in trouble. Like, I mean, like I was saying when I talked about that, that's a lot of games are in trouble during development. Maybe they'll
The
get out
God
of
of
it.
War one was famous, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And they came
That
together.
game wasn't fun
till
till like the last minute, right?
Yep.
So who knows?
Who knows? Let's see here from Breadfish. Gabe Newell will have died, but Robin Walker will have taken over Valve and promises Half-Life 3 incoming any day now. Okay, yeah. Valve in Steam is like a question, right? Because it's privately owned. And Gabe Newell does die one day. I don't know, 5 years from now. That seems too soon.
That seems soon.
That seems soon. But he dies one day, and it's like, man, what happens to Steam then? I do continue to wonder if, like, is Microsoft biding their time until they can make the move then? I think regulators would stop them.
Yeah, I mean, I do worry, like, once that happens, then whoever owns Steam will just make it public so you can make a lot of money. That's why they always go public.
Oh, yeah.
And the same problem we have everywhere. When all of a sudden there's shareholders, aka, nobodies who made their money guessing that iPhones would be popular 20 years ago, who now get to decide what we're going to do with Half-Life. Sounds great.
Who gets these knives though? Who gets the knife?
Oh, us. We're breaking in and stealing them.
Yeah, that's the heist. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I never forget how terrified I was when I was late to the freaking what was their card game called?
Artifact.
Artifact. It was the day I was late to it because I couldn't find their office, and I walk into the room, and it's just Gabe Newell in the middle of like giving a presentation to like 6 people. I just who's doing this? And I just gotta walk in, take my seat.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say Gabe Newell was there with a whetstone sharpening his knife.
Where you been, buddy?
Like, look, your office was very difficult to find. I can understand why. They probably don't really want to be like, Valve, come here to complain.
Don't do that. No,
No.
Let's see here. Vision 49 says it feels like it has already started, but there's going to be some sort of reckoning with Forever Games' ability to cannibalize future projects. Even if player sentiment towards them is poor, it's increasingly tough to compete with free. Yeah, I think these companies do need to figure out something where it's like, yes, these games are big and they're free and they are good at making a lot of money, but at a certain point, they do feel like they like make it more difficult for the industry to grow overall. And the games get so big and intimidating, maybe they don't attract gamers the way they once did. I don't know.
Yeah, it is kind of silly that like I'm sure we thought this would be an issue, but we never really like seemed that worried about like, well, hey, if everybody plays Fortnite forever, aren't less people going to buy other games? Yep. I was like, no, it'll be more. People would always throw that out. That was the Game Pass thing. It's like, are people going to buy this game less if it's on Game Pass? They'd be like, actually, they're going to buy it even more than they would before. It's like, well, that seems counterintuitive. I don't know if I believe that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there's other issues here at play because, like, MiHoYo keeps putting out new games. They don't have to, but they do. They could, they could ride Genshin, they could ride whatever. But they put out Star Rail. They're putting out ZZZ. You can have these like service-oriented games and still have new projects. But what do they keep doing? They keep putting out free service-based games. So maybe it's like the monetization and all this stuff.
Well, I mean, maybe that is the right path where it's like, there is a certain player that just wants to play through some content and then they're done with the game, and build your game to serve that player, and then also build the game to serve the player that wants to just play that one game for forever, and they can do that, and then that other player can move on to your next game and then the next game. They might have something figured out there.
That's why I try to emphasize, like, because you can play those games as just single player, open world adventure games or a turn-based Persona style RPG. But you can also, get into the like collect your waifus or whatever stuff for the people who like that free to play stuff. They're kind of servicing both audiences there. I think that's why they're finding success. I think, like we said a lot through this episode, things are just changing.
Nick says Balatro Cinematic Universe. That seems inevitable. Willow Davis says everything will be played within Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse, and they will remove human avatars in favor of furries. Only furries.
Is that still happening?
We should go check it out. We should all go into the Facebook metaverse.
Oh, are they really like, yeah, that's gonna take off?
Yeah, they were like that. Yes, absolutely.
Well, I know they were like that. Are they still like
I have no idea.
Are.
Man,
they
really,
are.
Jesus.
Lex now, goddammit.
Oh my God.
We should go. I got a MetaQuest. Let's go check that out for Giant Bomb. B says will be mostly run by indie games with only a handful of AAA games per year. Along with one quadruple A game like every 10 years, like Skull and Bones.
I still can't believe Skull and Bones came out this year. Because again, like other games came out and they seemed like so notable and missing the mark that we can't stop talking about them, like Suicide Squad. Nobody even wants to talk about Skull and Bones.
And I really can't believe Yves Guillemot said with his human mouth that game was quadruple A. He really said that.
A month before it came out.
Yes.
Like, well after
he should have known.
It had any chance. Right?
Yep.
Like, wow. What only meant by it actually was that it's a live service game.
Yeah,
that was his only reasoning.
I think and also that it took a long time to make, right? It's like, oh, this game took 10 years to make, so that makes it quad A. Oh, okay. Clink says Nintendo's next console will be successful, but not nearly as well as the original Switch.
I do worry about that 3DS effect, where the 3DS was a success. Not nearly as successful as the DS, though.
Yeah,
right?
I think as long as they're able to keep their profits pretty steady, they'll be fine. They'll be happy with it all.
Yeah, but like in general, like whenever there is the direct sequel, like NES to Super Nintendo, Wii to Wii U, DS to 3DS, even Game Boy to Game Boy Advance. I'm not as sure about that, but generally,
oh no, yeah, GBA was way worse.
Yeah, the sequel does not do quite as well as the original.
No, it doesn't.
If they can maintain 3DS, that would be okay, because 3DS still sold insanely better than most consoles. It was still at like 80 million or something. That's a great number.
That's a great number. But again, just the way everything is like, no, line's got to go up, right?
Yeah.
So, it do.
But like, I'd be happy. Trust me. I wouldn't really I wouldn't sit here like, I'm enjoying this less because it's not selling as well as the last console. But I don't know how investors will react to that.
I think Nintendo knows this. And I think they're like, we're still going to do it because we're going to take that time to figure out what's next after that. And in the meantime, we will diversify with more parks and more movies and things like that.
Right. That's why they're branching out.
Yeah.
But also, when you are an independent entity who has insane amounts of money in the bank, the shareholders are relatively happy because they know your companies.
Right. And Nintendo is lucky on that front that they seem to have more patient or reasonable shareholders than a lot of other companies.
Met Lawrence's GameCube has just hit NSO and the world is healing. And that's their optimistic take.
Yeah. I do. Man, I am like, are there any other consoles coming to NSO? Because maybe something Sega, but there hasn't been a Genesis game added in forever. So something's kind of gone cold there. I still just don't know if we ever see GameCube on there for whatever reason. So like maybe we'll get TurboGrafx and I'll be happy and everyone will call me a boomer, but I'll be a happy boomer.
Freshly Streamed Game says there will not be a Viva Pinata revival. And I don't think so either.
No.
Yeah, no. Probably not. There was a time where I'm like, yeah, they'll get to that eventually. I don't feel that way right now. Tink says indie games as far as the eye can see. Yeah, that's how it feels already. So I wouldn't be surprised by that.
Maybe in 5 years, Silk Song will be out.
Maybe. All right, that does it for the podcast producers' input. I think what we'll do now, let's take another break. Then we'll come back. We'll get the super chats, talk about what we've been playing right after this.
All right, good stuff.
Good stuff.
Yes, reformatting.
Yep.
Okay.
Just
I gave up on the trying to read along gimmick about 2/3.
Nah, you did the right amount of time.
It was impressive for when you did do it.
Yeah, you did well.
All right.
Thank you.
All good.
Hero.
All right, let's go.
All right, we're back, and there are more super chats. And Sean, I want you to read them.
Awesome. First up, we got Tino Starks here. Mike Ybarra recently made a tweet that might be insinuating Phil's hands might have been tied. Do you think the holy trinity of Xbox, Phil, Bond, Booty, were overruled by the one true king, Satya Nadella?
I think, like we said when we talked about this earlier, I definitely think that there is increased scrutiny. I don't think Satya Nadella came down and said, you have to do this. I think it is the situation of they feel a little bit more pressure. So now they're looking around and be like, we're going to be the big boys and we're going to put on our big boy pants and we're going to go do what needs to be done. And I still think these are 100% all their decisions.
Yeah. Sounds right to me. From the casual noob gamer, did Xbox close Tango because they leaked Hi-Fi Rush going third party and Microsoft wanted to send a message not to leak stuff to other studios as an example? Nah.
No. They're not that petty about leaks. I would know.
No. Yeah. From Allie Miracle, her submission because she missed the thread. The Nintendo PlayStation is back, baby.
Let's go.
Man, what would have to happen for that to take place? I mean, that would be amazing.
Man.
Yeah. From El Grug, in 5 years, will Christian have a webcam?
No.
I have a webcam. I just don't use it.
No, we don't want that.
Christian's shy.
He's conservative about it. He can't show that beautiful face.
It's really untidy in the mod hole.
I stream on Twitch with my camera on.
Yeah.
Nobody watches, so.
Wow.
All right.
From
It's probably because of all the 9/11 jokes, Christian. It might make people uncomfortable.
From Senor Bean, I bought a Little Caesars Hot and Ready pizza to get the Hot and Ready Call of Duty calling card. Was the dumbest real world product tie-in thing you've ever bought? Oh God, I do a lot of those.
Uncharted 3 made me go to Subway for some reason. I can't remember why now, but I remember the Uncharted 3 Subway commercials.
Oh yeah, where Nathan Drake is holding a Subway cup and everything while he's tumbling through the airplane. Yeah,
it looks real weird. Like it was not animated by like the Naughty Dog A-Team.
I definitely bought a bag. Like I do this all the time. This is the one that's just coming to mind. I definitely was going to get my pickup pre-order for Call of Duty, whatever, and there was a bag of Doritos with Call of Duty on it that said it had a code, and I definitely got the Doritos. I've done dumber shit than that for sure, but that's just the one I can think of.
I mean, I'm just an idiot who drinks a lot of energy drinks in general, but I drank so many getting double XP tokens for Modern Warfare 3 this past year, and wouldn't regret it.
Do you guys ever like back in the day go see movies because they had a trailer that you cared about? You didn't care about the movie itself.
I think just Meet Joe Black for Phantom Menace.
Oh,
I saw Secondhand Lion so I could see the Two Towers trailer.
What is Secondhand Lion?
Secondhand Lions was young Haley Joel Osment had to move in with his grandparents, played by Michael Caine and Robert Duvall.
Oh, I know this cover.
Story.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It had the Two Towers show. Then the other one was I saw the Robots, that weird DreamWorks CG movie, so I could see the episode 3 trailer.
Okay, help me out here because I feel like this might have been like a little before my time kind of thing. How did you know that the trailer was going to be at that movie?
They would announce it.
They would advertise it because they knew that there would be, especially for these movies, they knew that there'd be nerds who would go help
and they would
sales of Secondhand Lions.
Ain't it cool news would tell us. Ain't it cool news? Things like that.
Oh yeah, there were still we still had like Ain't It Cool News and ComingSoon.net. And things, there was still.
It would be like on forums and stuff like that. It would.
What's what I'm saying? Did you have to be like plugged in, sort of, or would it be like in magazines?
I think they would be in magazines. There would be some magazines that would have it, but it was like at that point, it was like most frequently you had to be pretty plugged in, and then on like Entertainment Tonight, they might mention it. So like at 7:30 on ABC, maybe they'll say that, but mostly it was on the internet.
Okay, gotcha. Let's see. Next, we're up to Slippery Moose Cakes. Anything really positive you've heard about Xbox? I
mean, I don't know if people are going to want to hear this, but apparently it's going to be a pretty decent Xbox showcase. So they say that pretty frequently. We'll see. But that's the best I got for you. I have no idea.
Jedi Moss 4. My concern is for every Hades, there's more than 500 other indies that fade into obscurity. Indies have suffered plenty of closings and had layoffs.
Yeah, yes. There's the indie apocalypse is ongoing. It has been for the last 10 years. There's so many out there that are competing with one another. I think the idea is, though, that there is some difference between like a bunch of people leaving Respawn, taking a bunch of venture capital money, hiring 250 people, and like garage developers. Like it used to be all garage developers. That's the thing I got out of reading that book, Masters of Doom, is like, man, there was a time when the biggest video game makers in the world were basically just people working in a house. They are basically just working in a garage. And it's like, the stakes at that point, it's like either we get rich or we had fun making the game we want to make. And there's something
go back to our normal coding jobs at Microsoft, right?
And hopefully I made that clear when I was talking about earlier. That's the level of indie that I'm talking about.
Right.
A team that knows, hey, we all got savings. We're good to like take a risk and like try to develop a game in like a year and a half, just put it out on Steam and see what happens.
Yep.
That's the kind of indie that I think is doing well right now and is seeing success because they can take those risks, you know?
Did you guys see the new games added to the World Video Game Hall of Fame?
No, I didn't.
No.
Yeah, it's Asteroids, Resident Evil 1, SimCity, Myst, and Ultima 1. They actually, I think, picked almost all the right games this time. There's something weird like a Last of Us from 10 years, but it's really fueling my my craving for playing old Ultima and Myst games. That's made me think of it because like Ultima, like one person made that back in the day, right?
That was a good
even when it scaled up, it was like 10 people now.
From Dean Bowling, what is VTuber Christian's avatar of choice? Christian, you've done this before.
Steel beams.
I did VTube in the past a little bit, and my avatar was that submarine that
killed the billionaires. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
Hell yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Cool.
if I have to choose now, I will work in. I want to capture.
You want to be the gun that killed Shinzo Abe instead?
Jesus Christ.
That was a lot of super chat, at least.
They may have not heard that. I'm about to read it again.
Gonna
I'm gonna
fix
tell
it.
people.
Oh, you're back. Jeff, you're back.
Are we back?
Oh, wait. Wait, hang on. Oh, no, he's frozen again.
Wait, no, am I back?
Oh, I hear you.
I think you're back.
No, it's going to break again. I feel like it's going to break again. Are we good?
Well, yeah. Did you get the Furukawa-san super chat?
I did not hear this Furukawa-san super chat. No.
All right, let me get it quick.
Okay.
Shintaro Furukawa, president of Nintendo, said, "Please enjoy some money from tons I've made, but please be aware I will not discuss Nintendo Switch 2."
We understand, Furukawa, and we appreciate the money.
You can't send the ninjas out to destroy Jeff.
Yeah, they already
please.
did. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay.
All right.
All right. Hey, what, you guys been playing anything?
Mike?
Oh gosh. I mean, I don't think anything that I didn't already talk about on Tuesday. So I have my Quack Shot world record. That was the big thing. Kind of just thinking about like how much I want to play Crow Country. And I can't Animal. I always forget the name. Animal
Well.
Well, yeah.
Just think Down Well, but instead it's Animal Well.
No, that'll help. Maybe. I also really want to play Sam & Max Hit the Road some point this weekend with my adventure game craze, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I will also get into that. But I did play, Hades 2. Very good. I did play a good amount of that. It rules. It is so much fun. I mean, Hades is just such a good game. And it's a sequel in so many ways that is familiar and what I want. And, the things that they do to change it up, right? Like you are a bit more of a, you're more of a magic user, maybe slightly less agile than Zagreus was. And yeah, but it also feels like there's kind of more to do and see when you're doing these runs. Just very happy with it. So, and I am famously sometimes anti-early access. This is not, aside from like some small things like, art's not here yet or something, it doesn't feel like an early access game to me.
No, it doesn't.
It seems pretty feature complete. Yeah. I just haven't had much time to play anything recently, and gaming has had me so down in the dumps lately for a variety of reasons. So over the weekend when I did have free time, all I did was just figure out how to get the best possible CRT shaders going for retro games.
That rules. I've had that weekend before. It's a good time.
Oh, it's so fun. And, I got the 4K OLED here so I can have, the deep blacks, and like it has enough pixels on the screen that you can do some insanely good effects.
Yep.
My test was, I usually don't like using RetroArch as a piece of software in general, but I was using because the best, or the easiest, I should say, way to do these filters. My test is, if the Sonic waterfall looks like a transparent layer over the background, then that's the filter for me. So I did find a composite style filter in the RetroArch presets that I think is really good. I'm going to use that to play some of my favorite games over the weekend, alongside finally getting the time to play some of these indies. All the indies that I want to play. What people are popping off over, what was this, like the 1000X Resist?
Yeah, 1000X Resist. That's right.
Someone said like it's the greatest game they've ever played and stuff like this. I saw it. I'm like, well, that another one on the list. That Crow Country,
looks
Hades
nerdy.
2, I got fire up. Animal, story. I'm sorry, you have to read in a video
thrilling
game.
sci-fi adventure. The year is unknown. I wonder if it's the year 1000. Disease spread by an alien invasion keeps you underground. It's anime, so you're probably gonna like it.
It's anime. Yeah, exactly.
Is it moisturizer anime or normal anime?
Sean, what do you think? I think it's kind of normal anime.
It's an old.
We're getting to the point where I don't think Mike can say that anymore. I'm gonna
I'm just asking if it looks like a Hoyo game or whatever.
Okay, Jeff, what have you been playing?
I did start Animal Well. It's like I said earlier, it hasn't grabbed me. But the only reason I'm noticing that is because everyone said I'm going to love this game so much. So I'm like wait for that to happen. It is a Metroidvania where you don't have direct combat, but you can get attacked. I like that part of it. I like everything that it's doing. I do like it.
It's a Mickey's Illusion Island.
It's a Mickey's Illusion Island like. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing when someone first told me that. It's a little bit more like you're going to get tools. Like you get firecrackers and that scares the enemies away. You get a bubble and a wand that shoots out bubbles, and then you can jump on that bubble, and then you can jump up a little bit higher, and it kind of acts as your double jump. It's very
puzzle focused is what I hear.
Very, very puzzle focused. I think my initial thing was it's like, in a lot of these, like I feel like, I'm getting lost and it takes time for me to figure my way out, and that's satisfying. Here it's like I feel like I'm getting a little bit more stuck in a place, and not like stuck I can't figure out the puzzle, but just like I just feel enclosed in spaces sometimes, and I think I need to just like get a little bit more mastery of the world, and then things will start clicking. And I just people are alluding to all these other things that are happening with these puzzles, and I haven't seen any of that yet. So wait and see with that. I couldn't put down Hades 2 earlier this week. That game really does rule. So enjoying that quite a bit, but not a lot of time for other things. Really, my game playing time is going towards thinking about what to do with Summer Game Fest and getting all that stuff organized. Although getting to a point where that's feeling a lot better.
I have so much trips. I will actually not be here for real the whole time next week because I'm going to be gone. Maybe even the week after. I have a long trip coming up.
Yep.
Because we have our Games Beat Summit happening first, so I'm going out for that, and then I come back for like a week, and then Summer Game Fest. So I have a lot of LA traveling to do.
I think that's gonna do it though. I'm gonna hit the button. Let's get out of here.
The button, baby.
Yeah, there's the button. I don't know with these. Okay, so there's 1000X Resist, Animal Well, Crow Country,
and then the cat game people.
Oh, Little Kitty Big City.
Big City.
Yeah. Well, of those, which ones are you all looking to play first or second?
I think I kind of want to play Crow Country first. I want to play Animal Well for sure. When I saw Crow Country like a month ago, I was like, oh, that speaks to me. Oh, I want that.
Yep.
So you're playing the music?
I am playing the music.
We can't hear it.
No, we can't hear it.
Okay,
that's all right. You just yell at us when it's.
They can hear. You'll be able to hear it in a second. Yep.
Probably 1000X Resist for me. That it looks really good. I like the style, and then Crow Country. I love how it looks like a PS1 survival horror, but like with the Final Fantasy VII graphics specifically.
Yeah,
I know it's really cool.
I love the way Final Fantasy VII looks.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm gonna stick with Animal Well, at least until I know what it's doing, so I can decide whether or not I'm gonna stick with it long term or not. But everyone seems to like it, so I don't want to be left out on the party on that one. And then Crow Country does. In fact, I'm gonna install that right now. Crypt Master's that other one. Have you guys seen?
Right,
yeah.
People mentioned that in Super Chats. I'll check that out.
It's like a typing.
Oh, is that
Typing
one?
of the Dead?
Oh, that is. Yeah, it gets Typing of the Dead.
The Typing of the Dead,
cool.
like what?
Yeah. Okay.
Man, these games are cool. Dang. And after Mini Shoot Adventure is already this awesome, pleasant surprise, right?
Yeah. Do you think that all of these developers were waiting for this time when like the releases kind of slowed down and they're like, everyone just go now, everyone just quit?
Because it feel like these didn't pop off quite as hard last year. Maybe this is because I wasn't paying as much attention because I was so busy with those big games. I don't know.
Yes, exactly. I'm gonna try this Crypt Master as well. All right, you guys got any plans for the weekend?
Hopefully not. I mean, Mother's Day, we're taking my mom to a Mexican restaurant. That'll be.
I'm probably doing the same.
Let's see. There you go. Yeah. There you go. Get Margie's. Margie's for Mikey.
I'll go to the movies.
Joe's gonna be like, I invented Margie's.
I'll find the timestamp, bitch. Thanks for listening, everybody. Till next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
Disagree. Erica sent me a sound file telling me to eat shit. I thought that was uncalled for.
Yeah, listen, she's really problematic recently.
Right, I only heard some of her opinions.
Right. Exactly. I don't even, you know what? That's a good thing that she disagrees with you.
Yeah, you're right. I feel better. I beat it.
Most people are beating it right now.
Jesus.